Hey everybody, and welcome to a bonkers wild ride with Steve-O. Oliver Tree is bonkers. And man, I heard all about him trolling people. I legitimately researched the guy. I genuinely expected that I was gonna sit down in the van with him and just have him like just mock me, like, you know, troll me, like make a joke out of our deal. And that is totally not what happened. If anything, I think we can safely say that there was an instant connection, and the guard was dropped. I mean, the guy's hilarious. The guy's hilarious and is very clearly, you know, having a laugh. But man, we also, I believe, revealed the true Oliver Tree. And man, this dude is an artist with a capital Z. So let's get into it. All right, dude. Let's dive right in, huh?
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Oliver Tree.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude. We've never met, huh?
We have not met before.
And we're both like thriving in the action sports community.
Stuntmen?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're the real stuntman, but I do say I'm a amateur level stuntman.
Clowns?
Clowns? I did go to clown college.
Yeah.
So we have some similarities. There's some parallels there.
We both make music.
I know, and I actually listened to your rap album. You've got some crazy stuff, man. I'm really impressed, actually, that, you know, the diversity's there. You've got quite the Rolodex and the portfolio speaks for itself.
Well, thank you. It's pretty gnarly because my rap career really was the darkest, like, most, like, just gnarly chapter of my life. And when I bring up my rap career, like, nobody knows about it. You're the only person I've asked on this podcast if they knew about me rapping.
I also know about your time with the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, obviously more people know about that.
More people know about that.
But, you know, that's part of your rap career.
That is. But this isn't about me. This isn't.
Well, it is kind of.
All right.
I would say so. What is it called, the show?
Yeah, that's true.
Steve-O's Wild Ride, yeah.
Now, dude, you're an impressive guy, man. We kind of learned about you, and like nobody ever knows when you're serious. Like, is that a lot of work?
I wouldn't say so. No.
No, like
I mean, I'm serious. I'm a serious dude.
Right, but a lot of things you say seem to be not true.
Well, we don't have any way to verify that.
Well, that's not true.
I mean, how would you know? You know, it's kind of hard.
Right. Well,
I mean, there was a large period of my life where I was not on the internet, so it's hard to really be able to track back to what happened during those years, those formative years.
Right.
Your grandparents were onion farmers.
Yes, that is correct.
That's true.
How did you know that?
I did a little deep dive myself.
Okay.
And both of your parents were trapeze artists.
Oh, no. My mom was, and my father was a ringleader at the circus.
Nice. Which circus?
The Del Pickle Family Circus.
Nice.
It was Northern California based. But yeah, I mean, you were quite an impressive clown yourself. I mean, what was the school?
I went to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College, and I did not work for the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. I wound up working in a circus at a flea market in South Florida.
And then you ended up on a cruise boat?
Other way around. First was the cruise ship, then was the flea market circus.
And they kicked you off the cruise boat?
Yeah, they kicked me off the cruise boat, and so the next best thing was the flea market circus.
But you know, I think about this often. It's like, think about how lucky you are that these clowns band together and cut you off. Because what would be, you know, your life right now if you had been the leading clown there? Where do you think you would be? Would you still be at the, you know, would you be on the cruise boat still?
It's an interesting question, man, because I do believe that I am just such a persistent attention whore that I would have figured out a way to survive, and, you know.
Maybe it's almost a shame because you could have taken the clown level to another place, but I think you've done that.
Yeah.
You kind of are, and I think of myself as a modern clown as well in a lot of ways. I mean, even with the way that I typically present myself, very clown-like, you know?
Yeah.
Big suits, ridiculous stuff. I mean, it's a different version of a clown. There's different types of clowns, you know?
I mean, dude, I love what you do. Let me tell you that. I love what you do. I love the way that that it's legit music, but that it's, you know, you're having a laugh. You're not taking yourself too seriously.
I think there's enough people trying to be cool, and I feel like cool's been played out since James Dean, probably. Like, it's kind of, for me, like, I'm just so bored of it. I'm like, what else? And I feel like there's been so much people trying to sell sex and trying to sell, like, this idea of cool that I'm good. I don't really need to cover that. That's not really that interesting from an artistic standpoint, because when you're an artist, everything you do is art, you know? I had a friend who once said, the way he eats a banana is art. And I didn't understand that at first, but, like, everything we do is an art piece. And so that took me a while to click. But now I see it, I'm like, oh, if you make a sandwich, that's a piece of art. You know, obviously when you go to a high-level Michelin star chef, that's art, obviously. But when you get someone who makes a great McDonald's burger, that's art. When you see, like, an athlete play a sport at its highest level, like, you know, you don't think of football players as artists. But when they execute the perfect play, when they execute it in such a way that's, like, you know, almost like a ballerina dancing through and executing the ball to the other side, there's art to that, you know? So as I've gotten older, I've recognized that everything's art. So as an artist, my duty is whatever I do, if I'm going to do an interview, that can't just be a means to an end for press. It needs to be an art piece.
Yeah. Speaking of football players as art, I look at Tom Brady and I see beautiful art.
He's a genius.
He's gorgeous.
A beautiful sculpture.
I mean, dude, he's gorgeous, right? I'm it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So your buddy, when he eats a banana, like
he's probably not eating it. That's why it's art.
Well, it's crazy because when he told me that, I was like, that's some bullshit. Oh.
Yeah, you can swear. Yeah,
oh, my God.
You
said no swearing.
No, if it's at the very beginning.
I was surprised a guy like you was saying no swearing.
No.
I know, you're a YouTuber, so you've got to keep... I was going to ask you, what did your friends and family think about when you basically became a YouTuber? Were they concerned about you? What were people in your world? What were they like, what are you doing, Steve-O? Because obviously a while back, you've been at it.
Right.
Was there some like legit concerns from like the inner circle?
That is so funny, dude. What a wonderful question. Man, were your parents worried about you when you became a YouTuber?
Well, it's quite an interesting trajectory, you know?
Right. I mean, dude, at the time, I got into YouTube, and my first YouTube upload was 10 years ago this month.
Wow.
Like, I should really make a 10 years on YouTube thing.
Got it.
And at the time, of course, that was 2013. Like, it was... I was in a bad place. I had a dark year that year. Like, Knoxville was making the Bad Grandpa movie without the Jackass guys. It felt like we got Timberlaked.
Wow.
You know? I felt like I was the Jackson 4. And then I got kicked off this TV show that I was hosting.
What one was it?
It was called Killer Karaoke, where people would sing karaoke while terrible things happened to them.
Wow.
And I didn't want to do anything with animals anymore. And so they were like, okay, we'll get rid of you and replace you, and we'll keep doing stuff with animals. So, like, I was trying to, like, pitch stuff, and nobody would want...
What about Dr. Steve-O?
Dr. Steve-O...
Where was that in that trajectory? Was that before?
That was before I got clean and sober. That happened back in 2007.
And then Killer Karaoke was the next wave?
Killer Karaoke was... I shot it in 2011, and it didn't come out until 2012.
Wow. Did you make good money off Killer Karaoke? Or was it whatever?
It was decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out like November 2012, and then 2013 they canned me. So 2013, and a couple people told me about getting on YouTube, and I was just like, man, I've had like TV shows with my name in the title. Like, I've had like #1 movies. Now I'm gonna upload YouTube. It felt like so depressing, and you know, like, I just didn't think that there was even like money in it. I just thought, oh, I'm gonna try and get views on YouTube, you know, like.
What made you finally click to do it?
Sam Macaroni.
What did he
Sam
say?
Macaroni?
Yeah, do you know him?
No, but I'm getting hungry. Damn, bro.
Yeah, like he taught me how to edit and stuff. And dude, it brought about a complete rebirth for me and my career. Like now I identify as a YouTuber.
Well, the thing is, YouTube's bigger than television now. I mean,
Big
Mr.
time.
Beast destroys the ratings on probably any television show besides the Super Bowl or something. I don't know.
I think he even beats the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. You were ahead of the curve. I think you've been ahead of the curve in a lot of different ways over the years, but that one specifically, I think you really hit it at a sweet time, because now it's like when I think about my album that's coming out and I do press around that, I'm not even bothered with anything conventional. Press outside of YouTube is the only thing that matters to me. I'm like, that's where the kids live. That and TikTok is pretty much where the youth is. So it's like, if you think, is a kid going to be watching this like early morning or late night TV show, forget about it, you know?
Do you say that because you had a bad experience with the Stephen Colbert show?
I had a few bad experiences. I almost got sued a few times.
I was like, my guy Isaac, who's masterfully running the internet on this TV. I'm so excited about it. We've never done it in the van.
I love it.
He showed me. At first, he told me that you got in trouble with Stephen Colbert, that you're banned from the Stephen
that is
Colbert
correct,
show
yeah.
for some bit that you produced. Which
Well, I
never-
had sent them a script that I wrote for it and was like, hey, is this cool? They're like, yeah, it's great. We love it. And then when they saw what it really looked like, it was maybe a little different story. But it was during the time where they were filming things off-site during COVID. So I was like able to use my production company, Alien Boy Films, to produce it myself. And I was like, oh, this is great. I get to really have the ball in my court. I had done multiple late night shows before that. And one time I almost got kicked off the Late Show as well, because I was on stilts, you know, as a fellow circus man. I was like, what could be cooler than doing a performance on stilts? And they said, you know, they knew I kind of wanted to do a little stunt potentially, and they were like, if you fall off your stilts, we're not using this, we're gonna kick you off the show. And I was like, okay, it's over. I can't fall on the stilts during my performance. And I was playing the show, and I'm like in the middle of the performance on television, and then my wig fell off because I never actually had a bowl cut. I always would wear a bald cap. So people thought I had a bowl cut, but it was basically just this bowl cut, it malfunctioned, fell off while I'm performing, like right at the beginning of the thing. And I'm like, oh, fuck. All right, that already was like a left swing I wasn't expecting. But then I'm like, this is my one chance to be on stilts on television. Like, how am I not going to fall? You know, I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity. What else am I going to do? It's not that interesting to see someone walk on stilts. I've seen you do it tons of times.
You've never seen me on stilts without me falling.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's the only good part, you know? So it was like, at the end of the thing, I was like, I have to fall. Even though in my mind going into that performance, I was like, there's no way that I'm going to fall. I don't want to jeopardize this. This is a big moment. And then while happening, I was like, when else am I going to be on stilts on TV? Like
yeah,
this?
it's like Jim Morrison on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Don't say.
They said, girl, we couldn't get much higher.
Yeah.
They were nervous about that.
But yeah, they were like, you need to, like, the union guys were like, we're going to shut this shit down if you fall, because I didn't have, you know, the proper insurances or things around it. For them, it's a security,
It's
flight
crazy.
risk.
And then presumably you were walking on Dura stilts, the drywall stilts.
It's actually a prototype. I'm not really supposed to talk about it.
Okay, thanks.
It's my buddy makes them in his garage.
Okay.
Santa Fe.
I saw you had like the world's largest scooter. It looked
Yeah,
like
I built
you were
that.
wearing...
I won the world's record, the Guinness World Book of Records, but then they almost sued me too. That was a crazy situation.
Man,
Why would they sue you?
Because I had filmed I got the record before I had announced it, and then I filmed like a Hollywood version, and you know, because I wanted to do it right. Like this was during the actual shoot of it, and so the guy, if you click on the IMDb link, that right there is go down. Yeah, that's Randy Rigatoni. So this guy, I found him on Craigslist, and he said he was an
Macaroni's
official.
cousin?
No, he's not related. But this dude, I found him on Craigslist. He said he was an official, and as it turns out, when we were filming it, the dude literally had no affiliation. He had the whole outfit and everything. I had nothing to do with that. He comes in, he's like, yeah, I'm an official, we can make this. So I had this guy who was claiming to be a Guinness official, Randy Rigatoni, came on, and it was fucking bullshit, because then they made me take the episode down. So it went live, was broadcasted onto YouTube while it happened, and then basically Randy Rigatoni screwed me, and it was taken off YouTube for at least, I think probably almost a year, maybe more. And then I had to cut out Randy Rigatoni, take out all the Guinness logos and all this stuff. And I had to have people like trying to edit out VFX out their logos. It was this huge nightmare situation. And I had to trim all of the footage so that Randy Rigatoni no longer even exists in the video.
So, but you did end up with the record.
I have the record, yeah.
Good.
How much does something like that cost you? If you don't want to talk about it, but
I usually don't like to say numbers, but it was upwards of $500,000
for that scooter.
Yeah, because it's custom. Those are Harley Davidson motorcycle wheels. The whole thing is made out of nuclear grade titanium. So like the actual build on that took a team of 15 different engineers. It was a fucking nightmare, and it shouldn't be that complicated, right?
Nuclear grade titanium.
Yeah.
Do you still have the scooter?
Of course I have it.
Where do you keep
$500,000. Yeah, I'd like to think I still have it. I think I could sell it for a lot. My idea was I was gonna sell it as an NFT that came with this is during NFT eras, right? Now you can't talk about NFTs without getting people upset. But I was gonna sell a version of the an NFT that came with the real scooter, and I was gonna sell it and then build one that was 1 inch higher, and then break the record again. But I felt bad about doing it, so I decided against it.
How did you?
It looks like there's different stilts going on here.
Yeah,
right?
this was so. There's a stilt there. That's actually my buddy built these. This is one of the highest stilts he ever built.
So those are peg stilts.
Yeah, that's a peg stilt.
And like that, I mean, that's like legit. Tall.
Have you ever been on one that high?
I mean, dude, one time I made out with a giraffe while walking on like 6 foot peg
That's
stilts.
nothing. Those are 9 feet.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like 6 feet from the.
It's hardcore.
Yeah, 9 foot peg stilts is gnarly. I was actually, I bought a smart car to do a bunch of dumb stunts with, and I wanted to one of them to be like 6 foot peg stilts. The smart car's hair over 5 feet tall, so I figured if I was wearing 6 foot wooden peg stilts, the car could blow out the stilts and I would just go to the ground. But man, maybe I should revisit that idea instead of.
I could connect you with my friend.
Yeah, they would have to
He
be
makes
like
crazy ones, bigger than what
Randy
you're used
Rigatoni.
to. No, it's not Randy. My friend who builds stilts.
It's Larry Linguini.
Larry Linguini.
What? How high are you comfortable with stilts? Like, what's the highest you've gone?
When I was making out with the giraffe, I was like, I'm 6 feet, and then the stilts are 6 feet, so that made me 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
Dura stilts are typically 4 feet tall, like fully extended. So I was running 2 feet more than fully extended Dura. I don't know. I would do like maybe 6 foot, 7 foot.
I could connect you with
Is
my
the guy
friend.
in L.A.?
Yeah. No, Santa Fe.
Santa Fe, New Mexico?
Yeah, but he can ship them.
All right. I got to make a move pretty quick. And peg stilts aren't that complicated.
No, it's not. But the thing is, rigging it up with this was an incredibly. That's why there was a lot of engineering that went into all of this.
Yeah, you don't want to fall over on those.
No, it's serious danger.
And what about your pants? What
the pants
fuck?
can get caught in the wheel too, so you have to be very careful. But yeah, I had various versions, so that if you look at like one of the ones where I'm not on the stilts, you can still ride it. There's a miniature handlebar that's lower, so I actually had it set up so that I could practically ride it. And then I have one that's set up when I can ride it with stilts. But that, as you can see, I actually crashed it. It was
How did you get that to Russia for your music video?
Oh, I didn't. That was a separate scooter. So that was my first attempt. And that wasn't Russia. That was in Ukraine. So it was my first attempt to build the world's biggest scooter. And I had my first big budget. I mean, my second one, I guess. But this one was a really large-scale music video budget. I had over $1 million to make this music video.
I had trouble believing that. And
was that Ukrainian dollars?
No, that's USD.
We looked it up, and
it's on
it's
Wikipedia.
It's listed as the number 34.
Yeah, we were 33 for a while, so someone knocked us out.
Yeah, the most expensive music videos ever built. So then I asked my guy, Isaac, to where's Thriller was on the list.
Right.
Thriller's in the 70s.
I know.
70s?
There's 7 million, right? Or no, 7. Oh, 7.
Number 1 was Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson.
Dude, that one is a nightmare. Have you seen it?
It's called Scream.
It's like the early days of VFX, but I think it was like all the money went into this VFX for an airplane or something, but it's like so horrible. It did not age at all. But they spent I think those numbers are... Well, you can see the adjusted. That's 13 million. But if you look at like the actual product, I think people are just pocketing most of that money because the quality is so low.
Well, yeah, they're probably paying Michael Jackson 75% of that to be in his own video.
You think so? Or you think that there's like the producer? I feel like it's always the producers.
I mean, why
that are pocketing the cash?
Where do you
the
make
artists
your money
are getting,
back?
Like, taken advantage of. That's my experience.
Man, I don't know what to say about that. Sometimes people get taken advantage of. But what really sucks is when people are taking advantage of themselves. You know, like letting a nasty habit just hold you back, compromise your health, ruin your life. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it, and that's why this episode is sponsored by Fume. Yeah, what's Fume? It's a device, okay? It's a device that helps you quit nasty habits. I mean, you can trade in breathing in crazy chemicals with just breathing fresh air. What's so special about it is that it's flavored air, because you've got a core in your Fume device, and that core flavors air, man. Now, like, hey, I think we all know, I quit my main bad habits over 15 years ago. I still love this thing. I even made a deal with you guys that if you see me in person, ask me if I've got my Fume in my pocket, because I will, man. I don't go anywhere without it. I love this thing. And if I don't have it in my pocket when you ask me, well, then I'll make whatever little shout out video you want me to make on your cell phone. That offer is good with every listener of the Wild Ride podcast for the rest of this calendar year. Yeah, dude. That's how much I love Fume. And that's how much I want you to drop your nasty habit and replace it with a good one. So go to tryfume.com and use the promo code Steve-O to get 10% off your journey pack. Why is it called a journey pack? Because your journey starts now, baby. It starts now. It's a journey towards being a better you, and a you that you feel good about. So tryfume.com. Use the promo code Steve-O for 10% off your journey pack. Now let's get back to it.
Yeah, where do you make your money back on a music video? Just by the sales of the...
Yeah, I don't think an artist makes any money for a video.
You don't make any money on music. I mean, you get an advance.
But now you do on YouTube or Vimeo, right?
No, the label takes all of it. But they give you an advance of like, okay, your next album, here's the money, and you kind of survive off of advances from the recording side, but you don't make a penny on any of it.
Well, I mean, you got to figure that it's basically promotion for you as an artist. It's promotion for your tour. Do you tour?
Yeah, I'm actually about to go on a world tour.
So Paris, Luxembourg.
Yeah, I hit in Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, I'm going to do most of Europe and then the UK.
So I got to believe that your live show is going to have like some elements.
I've just invested so much money into it. I basically made my live show into a mixture of a movie and a play and somewhere between like a TV show and a concert. And so for me, the new version of the show, I'm so excited. But then it's like, you know, you're always like, oh, next time I return to this place. And it's probably different as a comedian. I know you guys have much less overhead, so you can actually like make your money. But in music, like, the team gets bigger, so now I have to fly 15 people around the world, and then I have to bring these massive LED screens, and I'm trying to bring these pieces for production, and the other artists that you're trying to bring on, you got to support them, and it's like, it becomes this thing where every time I'm like, oh, next time I'll make my money back. And then I'm always just like, oh, but the show gets crazier, and I want to deliver. I don't want to do the half-ass version. But I did the first show at Red Rocks about, like, 2 months ago, and that was, like, the first dress rehearsal. We had never even got through an entire version of the set, and that was our full dress rehearsal, and it was insane to see it come to life. And there's like literally, I have these cues in my ear, they're called slates, and I have like maybe 100 of them in my ear. It's like turn left, turn right, all these things. While I'm singing, I'm listening to these things, adjusting so that I'm in motion with the visuals behind me. But it's like, it's performance art, but mixing together like my love for filmmaking as a director and producer, and I wrote a 34-page screenplay for it, so it's like fusion, you know? And I know that that's something you do really well, is fusion. I feel like both of us have been able to mix our careers by just pulling from so much stuff. That's something I've always admired from you, and I think you've done excellently. It's created such a unique avenue for you, and not just, you know, with Jackass, but Wild Boys and so many other things. So you've been a tremendous inspiration for me.
Well, thanks, man. I definitely relate to the idea of bringing different lanes together. You know, like that's a big thing for me, man.
Think about this. There's not that much room to do anything new. If you think that you've invented the wheel again, you haven't. No matter what, you're like, oh my God, I just come up with this idea. And you've done a lot of stuff for the first time. You know, I've seen, even just coming down to the way you promote things, different things like that, you're like a guy who's always like coming up with new, fresh things that haven't been done yet. But in a lot of ways, there's probably a micro version of it that has been done somewhere else. Or
sure.
You think, oh, I just came up with this crazy idea, but it's like 6 other people have either had the idea and probably at least one of them is executed upon. It just might be a smaller scale or a different variation. So for me, it's like the only room for creative breakthroughs and new territory is when you fuse together mediums. It's like for me in music, like my last album was a country album, then I put out my next song was like dance music, and the album before that was alternative rock music and pop music and hip hop. And so it's like there's not a lot of room to make a new song, you know. There's only so many chord progressions, there's only so many pop chord progressions, so then it narrows even more. And then there's only so many lyrics in English that really are like fit into the rhyme scheme patterns, and there's such limitations. So for me as an artist, I'm like, well, what do I do to make this interesting? I'm like, okay, well, I could do fusion. Like the Gorillaz was a big inspiration for me. It's like, how do I mix together all these genres that don't belong together? But then it's like at a certain point, like that's a little bit boring too. Even that seems like it's already all been done. And so then it's like, okay, how can I mix the mediums together? How can I bring in like really focus on filmmaking and do it in a way with music that is like feels fresh and try to bring new ideas? But you know, no matter what, I'm like, shit's already played out.
As far as like the music videos go and filmmaking, who are your inspirations growing up? Because when I watch your music videos, I get a lot of like old Missy Elliott vibe, and like I believe it was like his name was Dave Mayers, who directed all of like her and Busta Rhymes videos. Because all your videos are so bright, everything's outrageous, huge. So like, who were your inspirations growing up?
For me, it was more feature filmmakers. So like Wes Anderson, the symmetry on him is something I've taken a lot from in some of the color palettes. Tarantino with some of the, you know, explosions and violence a little bit, but I have to keep it, you know, it's crazy because we have freedom of speech, but there's so much limitations, you know. Before I come in, you're like, hey, don't swear for the beginning. It's like,
yeah.
And you're the craziest dude, you know? Like, I don't even want to begin to say some of the stuff you've done, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, but you have to limit yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. And as I've tried to expand as an artist, it's like, how do I reach a bigger audience? How do I reach, you know, make it so that little kids can watch it too? I don't want to just make it only for a niche adult audience or people who are like, you know, it's like in between the age 20 and 35 or something like that. You don't want to narrow yourself. So you have to play and abide by these rules because you do want it to be like accessible, but also you're like, okay, well now I have to slip on a banana instead of the person pushing me off of the top of the bus in this bus sequence fight I did for my last video. And it's like, I have to, no guns, just bring out a banana out of his pocket. You know what I mean?
What was your bus sequence?
Well, I was riding a pogo stick doing pogo stick flips, and that actually took a long fucking time to learn how to pogo stick. Have you ever pogoed?
Not really, and not on like
you
the
spent
ones
4 months.
Yeah.
The ones that they're doing these days.
You can see on the TikTok, the first left one down there.
Pogo these days
Shit's
is
crazy.
So gnarly. It's got to be so dangerous.
Yeah, I think basically it might just show a little montage. This isn't the actual music video, but just like a clip from not sure, but anyways,
this is actually you doing the flip.
Yeah, I do all my own stunts.
There's no stand-ins.
No. This is a guy who's not me, but basically, like, you know, I do this sequence where these yellow guys are chasing. I mean, this is a horrible way to see it because it's all cropped in from
You really
But, you know, I went up on the rooftop of a bus. Anyways, you can stop it there, but it's like a whole fight sequence that takes place. And, you know, shooting, instead of me shooting, like, I wanted to have potentially, like, the idea of, like, a gun that shoots out of the pogo stick, but I'm like, that's way too gnarly. Like, I don't want to be supporting in the school shooter thing. It's like, you have to be very conscious of what you're putting out. But I was like, okay, well, a fun, silly way is that, like, it shoots a little rocket, and the rocket explosion is, like, this tall, and the guys jump out. You know what I mean? Like, kind of finding ways to make it, like, fun and for all ages and not, like, feeding into something that might be a negative thing you have to watch because you don't even realize is like the potential of what someone could get out of something, you know?
Right. Do you have like different art that is designed to be like not careful, like crazy, reckless, not allowed on YouTube?
I don't know. I do make a lot of stuff, and then I have to shelve a lot of it. So I have like crazy stuff that I've done, and then I'm like, well,
is that R Willy's?
I was gonna ask you guys about that. So I saw you guys went to my boy R Willy's house in Australia. How was that experience?
I just knew before going there that I wasn't gonna want to jump off the ramp, and I think Ryan didn't quite understand that.
Well, for him, it's like drinking a glass of water.
Right,
it's like
right,
breathing.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right,
I went off that.
I know.
Tricycle.
Hey, props. This is a real daredevil in the crew right here.
So
I was
surprised. I was surprised that I did it, but I saw his mom do it.
Yeah.
Then I saw Isaac do it, and I was like, "You just hold on, right?"
I just have so much experience with getting broken before I even make it off a ramp.
And you had a tour still going on, correct?
Yeah.
The tour wasn't over.
Yeah, that was right before Gold Coast.
That's the dangerous side.
That was like the middle of the tour, I think, right?
Yeah.
So do you have a background in BMX or anything, or you were just wow?
I mean, that thing was just so easy. You just, I mean, I closed my eyes before I went off the ramp because I didn't,
I love it.
But
yeah, the thing with action sports to me is like we're talking about art. To me, this is the greatest art form. And like when I see someone like R Willy, I think he's the greatest artist of our generation. This dude is willing to die for his self-expression. Truly die. Like it happens often. It's not a thing that's like, oh my god,
you couldn't be more right about that. And I
mean, if you're off inches, you break a fucking collarbone or whatever.
He absolutely does things that have never been done on a regular basis. Like when you're talking about everything
and on multiple
done.
different things too, right? Scooter, BMX.
Well, that's the thing. Now he's kind of moved more into the BMX lane because like me and him grew up scootering. And when you learn how to flip on a scooter, the rotation is faster because it has a lower center of gravity compared to a BMX. So he learned how to spin a BMX bike better than the BMXers based on his knowledge of scooter and his knowledge of how the gravity works and how he can get faster spins. So like him being a scooter rider was the ultimate advantage for him to break into the BMX world, but now he's pretty much taken the whole BMX world by storm. It's like such inspiration. I was with him. I actually competed against him at R Willy Land and I creamed him, dude. I actually beat the fucking guy.
Really?
Because he's been more focused on BMX, so his scootering is rusty. But we basically left it as like a standstill. And R Willy, if you're watching this, when you're ready, you come to Oliver Tree Town back in Santa Cruz. Come jump on my fucking 25-foot ramp at my parents' house. Let's fucking finish this like a man.
Yeah, what happened to the footage of you creaming him?
Oh, it's on there. This is the video. I competed against the #1 scooter rider in the world. I beat him. It's on YouTube.
Nice.
Learning how to scooter in Santa Cruz, I feel like it'd be hard to go to a skate park in Santa Cruz with a scooter.
That's true. Well, there was bike parks. And I grew up biking as well. Biking was a huge part of it for me. So, like, I raced BMX, downhill, did everything from 4-cross dual slaloms, cross-country, cyclocross where you lift the bike on your shoulder. Like, I did every fucking type of bike racing you can. But jumping was what I did for fun. And, like, scootering is intertwined with that. And my dad, he had a huge love for biking. He would be, like, the coach of the high school. He made a cross-country team there. And then one night he came home, he's like, Oliver, come with me. And me and my brother went with him, and he took me to this place. He's like, yo, I'm going to build a bike park right here. I was like, Dad, you're crazy. What are you talking about? But basically there was a spot called the Fun Spot. It was a skate thing that was getting torn down, and they were going to build a different skate park that was like millions and millions of dollars of infrastructure. And my dad was like, well, we could use the old ramps from the Fun Spot and build a legit legal bike park so the bikers have a place to go. So he like was able to facilitate and getting the company that he worked for at the time to help kind of invest some money into building the first legit bike park in Santa Cruz. So you could scooter there. And then that one at a certain point had to get moved, and me and all my friends and stuff, his company like helped pay us to work and rebuild the next bike park. But it's called the Fun Spot. It was the first one, but then it was a skate park, and then it turned into a bike park. But yeah, it's evolved again. The newer version has slightly shifted. And then there was the post office. Oh, that's the Polo Grounds. I used to hit all these spots, but there's a huge mountain bike scene in Santa Cruz, and I grew up in that scene. And my dad's, the company he worked for, they were rebuilding these buildings, and there was on this famous, legendary, if you look up the post office, that's where like I used to go when it's in Aptos. And basically the post office was the center of like the whole West Coast dirt bike jumping scene. And that's it right there. And then basically the company my dad worked for, they were going to tear them down because they were building these buildings, but they weren't going to build them for years. And there was like a security, it was an issue with just getting sued basically. And my dad was like able to keep it alive. And so he was like an advocate of always trying to like make a safe place for bikers, because the skate park, it's not cool to ride a bike, and it's definitely not cool to ride a scooter there. So, yeah. But this has been a big part of my like background in getting into stunts and doing, for me, like this was kind of my real addiction, growing up before I got into heavy drug use. And that at that point, it pendulums, Yeah, I heard that
got kicked out of your house for being a drug addict when you were in high school?
I used to sell drugs as well. That was the real reason.
Oh my God, that's the hardest. I laughed when, like, I think it was on a tune. Like, how did you...
Yeah.
Oh, the original Turbo Vine.
Yeah.
That's from, like, the OG beginning era.
The Sud
Vine.
dudes.
Yeah, the Sud dudes. I used to spend... They're very close friends.
The way that you said I sell ecstasy to children at raves was so hysterically funny.
Well, it's because I didn't say it. My friend Getter, one of the Sud dudes, it was his voice.
Okay.
But yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, that whole thing with that. That was the first time I ever dressed like that. And that was like the original character.
And that was a joke, by the way. If anybody's getting it, you know.
That was real. I'm not proud of it. But no, yeah, there it is. Classic. But yeah, that was the thing where I showed up to a music video shoot. I had my first chance to be in a music video that would reach MTV, or I don't know if it was MTV2 at the time or whatever it was, but I was like, okay, how do I want to present myself? Do I want to sell sex and like try to be like everyone else, or do I want to try to make myself look as ugly as possible so that I can stand out and stick out like a sore thumb amongst all these other people selling sex? So for me, it was like, the first thing, so I was like, what can I do? And I just pulled things from my youth. You know, the bowl cut was the haircut I had my whole life growing up. I was too scared to get any other haircut. The ski jacket I stole from my mom. The glasses were like the glasses I would wear as a kid that made me feel cool. The Jinko jeans were like the pants that I always wanted, and the socks and sandals combo was like the most goony, ridiculous style of footwear I would wear. So it was pulled together very like, you know, authentic to me. Like I didn't have to buy the jacket. I literally stole it from my mom's closet, and I have pictures of my parents wearing that. My dad wore it sometimes skiing, and my mom would wear it, so it's like a family relic at this point. But anyways, I pulled all that together, and I show up to the music video shoot, and my friend Getter, who is one of the Sud dudes, he like looks right through me. He didn't even recognize me, and I had gone like spent time out. He showed me how to produce. A lot of my beginning era was like formative years. He showed me how to produce, and I showed him how to DJ, and he became a very successful DJ. So it was crazy. We both showed each other so much, but I had known him for like 6 years, spent so much time in high school with him, and he like looked right through me. He didn't even know it was me. And then he was like, no way, we got to go film some Vines. It was like back in the Vine era, and we filmed these 3 Vines, and this is after I'd already gone through like failed record career, failed like so much stuff that I've tried so hard to be a serious artist, and then we film, and no one listens to my music, no one cared, and like then we filmed these Vines, and the first one got posted, this one, and it got like maybe 1 or 2 million in the first couple days, and then he posted another one, and it was us dancing, and that one got 1 million in the first day or two, and then posted another one, that one got 1 million, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? I spent my whole life making art, nobody cares. And somehow now I've figured out that this, I didn't even have to try. I just show up looking silly, and that's what people want to see. They didn't even care. So I was like...
So then that just sort of, like, informed a new approach to everything that you tried before, and all of a sudden it started working.
It was fairly calculated because I had the strategy. I'm gonna go in, this is what I want to wear, but I was also playing a cashier in this video, and like they're like, you can't wear the jacket, you can't wear this, like it doesn't fit the story. And I was like, all right, that's fine. But anyways, I was like, that was the original plan look that I wanted to do, and I was like, this really worked too well. I was like, how is this way more potent than the art I've been making? So I was like, how do I find a way to use this look and really like maximize on it to use it as a vehicle to pull all these people over to my music? And at first I kind of was like weary. I was like, I don't really want to like make it forced promotion of the songs. So I just kind of developed the persona and kind of developed trying to make it so that this character could kind of live in the internet and not necessarily make it like, this guy's a musician. So people were like, no, this guy makes music. But I was like, no, it's the other way around. I always made music. No one just cared about it, and no one gave a shit. So it was like, I was able to kind of like slowly ease in, and I have this idea, and I think you've executed this very well, but it's like when you are someone who really loves to do something and you have built an audience, you could shift the audience to something else. Like if I wanted to be the world's greatest chef, I could be like, hey guys, I've actually always been a chef, and follow along with me on this journey, and if you make it as authentic as you can, they're there for you. Obviously, they want to see a certain thing, like they want to see your stunts, but that doesn't mean they don't want to see you do your comedy specials or the different things. Obviously, there's a crossover, and you have these Venn diagrams of different levels of like, okay, this audience likes the stunts, this audience likes the comedy, this audience likes, and there's like, you know, maybe 20 of them for someone like you and myself as well. Where you have the super fans is where they all interlap in the center. You know, there's like the super fandom, and then there's people across the board who are all kind of, it's not like they're just gonna like one thing. They'll probably be able to cross into other ones. They might be like, Steve-O's comedy is trash, I'm not gonna listen to that. But everything else they love. Or they're like, his comedy's so funny, I don't really want to see him naked though. You know what I mean? And it's, right. I experience that all the time with what I do.
Well, how'd you open for Skrillex because that was before all this.
That was
right?
before all that. Yeah.
So you were somewhat.
Is this alcohol?
Nope.
I'm sober, so.
Good. I love it, man. Yeah, that's not alcohol. It's just water, bro. It's liquid death.
I like it. Oh, what was your question?
Before, because you said you weren't successful, but you were successful enough to get the attention of.
I was a dubstep DJ back in the day. I had many iterations, so like I was in like.
Yeah, didn't you hear he taught his buddy how to DJ?
Yeah.
No, he taught. Yeah, I did DJ.
But he said he wasn't successful. But like, you got to be somewhat successful if you're touring around with Skrillex.
I didn't tour around with him. I played an opening slot in San Francisco. It was like I signed my first agency. Was like this dubstep thing that was happening in Santa Cruz, and I just kind of worked my way up to it. But it was something where I only got that because I was playing like backyard parties and whatever, and there was like a guy who was a hero to me. And then basically like I showed him he saw what I was doing and he was blown away, and he's like, you guys need to sign this dude. So it was the kind of thing where just a lot of hard work and a lot of trial and error. Yeah. And that came after a period where I was in heavy duty drug issues, where it was like once I got out of it and hit my rock bottom and had my like, you know, LSD Rebirth, then I was like, okay, I need to like channel this energy and this addiction into something else. So it's like the addiction, it's about addiction hopping, you know, if you're an addictive personality like you and I, it's not about like, oh, now I'm gonna be not addicted. It's like, okay, like I'm gonna learn how to be addicted to something healthier, you know, and that has to shift. So for me, I found that was like music was basically like my religion. It saved my life from like, okay, now I have an outlet and I had an opportunity to play at a big show, and that show went great and it led to the next one, and that one went great, and then it led to me opening for Skrillex. And then after that, I was like, man, that went so great. What did you guys think? They're like, well, we're really looking to push our artists that are making music. And I had always grown up making music. Like I was the fat kid in the band class playing baritone in the back of the room. I was like, you know, I played piano since I was a very young kid. I wrote like albums even at the age of 4. I had been playing like guitar, taking lessons all through middle school and elementary school. So like I had like my first rock band I joined in was called Irony, and it was in middle school. And then that like it ended up turning into it. Then I was in a rap group called Mindfuck, and then after that, then I was a dubstep DJ called Crife. And so I had all these different iterations and these different things. But like, you know, I hit that last era, and they were like, yeah, we want to push, you know, people who are really producing. And I was like, all right, I make music. I'll focus more on production. I get it. So I started making music, and I was like, what I was making was not naturally coming out as dubstep. And I was like, I don't really want to force myself. And it was at the time where the drugs started wearing off, and you start getting sober, and you're like, is this really something I want to contribute to? Because when you go to those raves and you start seeing those kids that are spun out of their mind, they're like,
yeah.
And their jaws are tweaking, and you're like seeing the same people over and over, and they look like zombies. And I was that, you know what I mean? So, but you could see it from another lens. And so for me, like seeing that, I was like, holy shit. Like realistically, I'm not going to force myself to make dubstep, you know? And then essentially I was just making music, and it was more like indie pop music and bedroom production. It was a mixture of hip hop and like alternative pop music. And then it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, I'm not going to force myself. And I kind of saw early on, I was like, how far can this whole like drop thing go and these different things? So I kind of was turned off at a certain point. I was like, there's so much like restrictions with this genre, like a build and a drop. It's like, okay, like that's kind of boring for me. I'd love to like make songs. And so I shifted. And I did the right thing, but it was very painful because I had to start back over again, and that whole thing was put to the side. And so it was just, you know, different iterations. But ironically enough, now I've been focused making my first return to DJing. And so I played at Hard Summer this weekend with Dylan Francis. And I sang some songs, but I actually DJ'd. I kicked him off the DJ booth and showed him how it was done. And I played some stuff with some other artists as well, but I did my own set on the day after. But I'm kind of re-emerging myself into it, and I've spent 400 hours working on my return as a DJ. So I'm putting this show together. Dr. Oliver Tree, Dubstep DJ. So I'm returning my dubstep debut.
Is that something, did you have a DJ portion of your show at Red Rocks?
No. No, I did not. But there was DJ who opened up for me, Supercomputer, this new act that I just recently signed to my label, Alien Boy Records. So Supercomputer played right before me. That's a DJ project. And then Little Ricky as well. Those are the 2 acts that I signed to my record label. But anyways.
Is that something?
What were you going to say?
I'm sorry for interrupting you. Normally, I'm getting better at not interrupting.
No, I'm just ranting at this point.
It's all good. I'm just apologizing to my listeners.
Well, I'm sorry as well for your listeners having to hear me talk. They want to hear Steve-O.
No. You're doing great, man. This is fantastic, and we're loving it. I just really want to know: is your upcoming tour? Does it make sense for you to add in a little little DJ performance.
I mean, I would love to do that. There's a world where there may be after parties or different things, but I'm just trying to take it to such a high level. Like 400 hours is a lot to spend on a DJ set, and it's not even completely finished, but I'm mastering it, and I need to now spend a shitload of money to make crazy visuals, and I really want to, like, as an artist, it's not about, oh yeah, like DJing could save me money or DJing. I'm like, I see the potential from an artistic standpoint. How could I contribute to make the craziest DJ show ever made? You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
And every time I try to take on something, I'm like, how do I make it the craziest thing that's ever been done? And it always falls so short. And I look at it, I'm like, this looks like shit. Like, but you know, whatever.
But dude, the intention's there. And I bring that up, like incorporating that into the show because Kid Rock, such a ridiculously talented human being. Like I saw him at his show on his tour, and he goes around the stage, plays the drums, he plays the guitar, like he plays like weird instruments, like I don't know if he played a cello, you know, like he just can play everything, and he's unbelievably talented on it. Then after the show, he'll go to like the club and like take over the DJ booth, and then now like he's the most like mesmerizing DJ. Like he just does it all. And so, you know, when you talk about your show being something that really brings all of the different things that you do, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't want you to half-ass it by doing like, you know, an underwhelming like short DJ thing. But if you just hopped on it and just like really just gave it to him really hard and then hopped on some other shit, you know?
Yeah. No, for me, it's a very separate thing because the DJ set, it's like, it's mixture of all the music that I grew up loving, and then some of my music's in there, but like I want to make sure that the audience understands this is a very separate thing. It's not like me just playing my songs, you know what I mean? It's like
right.
But anyways, long story short, I see them living separately, never together. But like, for example, this weekend I played this thing, Hard Summer or something it's called, in Los Angeles. And like, for example, next year if I play, or 2 years later, I hope to play one day as a DJ and one day as my band, so the two can kind of live in conjunction but be separate, because they're very different things. So like, I would keep the shows separate. It's a lot of work to do the normal show.
Okay, well,
I would give myself at least a few hours to rest and maybe do after party or something.
Let me ask you this: when you come out on stage at Red Rocks, are you not fucking hitting it hard on your scooter?
Oh, I always do scooter stunts. That's a signature thing.
See, that's the thing, is that scooters and what you're doing with your music are two very separate things, but you put them together and 100%. It makes it that it's like that fucking Reese's chocolate and peanut butter shit. So if you fucking rode your scooter off a DJ booth and then picked up your guitar, like, now I'm hard as a rock.
I like it. I'm getting hard just thinking about it, bro. I think you might be onto something big here, man. I like it. I like where your head's at.
You loosely grazed the subject of a life-changing LSD experience.
Yes, that is correct. Burning Man. Family vacation to Burning Man.
What happened?
I feel compelled to warn you guys right now that the story Oliver is about to tell about his life-changing experience is not necessarily a recommended approach to improving your life. Okay? I said it. It's probably not healthy. Now, what is a healthy approach to improving your life is the sponsor of this episode. It's BetterHelp. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp, and that is about finding an appropriate and healthy way to change your life for the better. What is it? It's therapy, baby. It's a platform which connects people with licensed, qualified therapists, and it takes out the going to the office, the getting in the car, driving across town. You do it all online. And they've matched up over 3 million people with licensed, qualified therapists. Plus, when you're on the website and you're looking for the therapist, you're plugging in specifically what it is you want to work on. I'll go ahead and tell you straight up, what I go to therapy for is to work on my relationship with my fiance. Because, man, I strongly believe it's better to fix the roof before it rains than to, you know what happens if you don't. You got problems, man. I don't want problems in my relationship. I want to have a healthy relationship, and I want it to work great, and that's why therapy is important to me. Now, everybody's got stuff to work on, and that's what BetterHelp is all about. That's better, HELP.com/Steve-O. BetterHelp.com/Steve-O for 10% off your first month. Jump on this. Your life will improve, and you'll be glad you did. Now let's get back to it.
What was the trip like?
The trip was, I went to my own funeral. I watched my death play out. Basically, I watched my life play out as a drug addict. This was kind of at like my very, very bottom. And
how old were you?
This was when I was 17, I believe. It was right before my senior year in high school.
You went to Burning Man with your parents at 17.
Yeah, and this is right when I was kind of rekindling my relationship with them, because that summer I had been kicked out. I was doing different hard drugs every day, just mixing them all together as well and selling hard drugs to survive. And my friends were cool enough to let me live at their houses. So it wasn't like I was homeless. I had people that took care of me, but like, you know, it was like a very dark period of my life. And
that's the difference between a homeless person and a couch surfer.
Right.
Is charisma.
And con artistry, which I think you and I both have figured out very well.
I had no charisma.
But yeah, basically, you know, I was in a very low place, and with that, I was supposed to meet my parents the night of the burn, so I had been kind of doing my own thing, seeing like the concerts and stuff on my own, and like the last night was the night of the burn, and I was supposed to meet with my parents, and the playa is super massive, and there's no, I don't know how it is now, but when I went, there's definitely no cell phone reception, right? Have you been?
No, I consider that a no-fly zone for me.
Bro, I feel like that you would have the time of your life there.
I mean, I know they have like, you know, sober communities there.
You don't
need
to be. Are you in a? You can't be around people that partake.
It's not that I can't be around it. I just have to like have a legitimate reason for being there, and it's
just like the craziest art performance of all time.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
people spend their whole years making these art vehicles that are like, you know, pirate ships driving through.
We'll go to the next one.
It's pretty wild.
I think that's perfectly fair. My other.
You have to go, dude. No, I'm not here to sell you on it. I only went one time. It's not like I'm a burner. You know?
My other prejudice is just that I don't really like being in big crowds.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
It's a lot of work.
But you can wear a disguise, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody's in disguise.
Everyone's wearing like things covering their face from the dust. So
talking about YouTube, we went to this YouTube convention. What was it? VidCon. And I was like, man, walking around a YouTube convention is going to be a lot of work, dude. I'm going to like get a disguise, you know? And so I went and bought a Stormtrooper costume at the costume store. And I go to the VidCon and everybody's stopping me to take pictures with the Stormtrooper.
You spent too much money on it, dude. You should have got the
every 10 feet, we're like, oh, dude, could we get a picture with you?
God. You're probably more famous than you, bro. You fucked up big time.
Yeah. I was like, oh, damn it.
Now, you said you saw your funeral. Like, get deeper into that.
Okay, so what happened was, anyways, I'm supposed to meet my parents. We missed the rendezvous spot, and basically I brought acid a bunch there thinking, hey, like, I'm going to try to do it with my family. And they were, my parents were kind of open to the idea, but it seemed like it maybe wasn't going to happen. But anyways, like, I take this acid, and I'm supposed to meet up with them at this thing, but I didn't have any water, and I was like, oh, I think I have enough time to go back to where I was staying and get water and come back. I was like, I think I have time to meet them back there before they come here. And I went, and then they were gone. And the people I was with were like, they already left. And then that was when it clicked to me. I'm like, oh, you're not going to be finding your family, because it's just mass chaos the night of the burn. It's always chaos there. And
you're not allowed to spend money. Everything's barter.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, you could buy coffee.
I didn't know that.
You can buy coffee and ice and water.
I thought that, like, as I understood it, money's no good. Like,
but you have to pay like a ton of money to get in there. You know, $1,000.
Right.
I don't know. It's not cheap. So, but the idea is really cool concept of like sharing and kind of just like trading. But going back to the story. So anyways, the trip starts by me missing my parents, which was supposed to be like a really epic special thing. We all went to Burning Man with the intention to spend this beautiful night together. So I'm just like start frying off out of my mind on acid. And like, I was like, I had like a bunch of the strongest acid I've ever gotten. I bought like half a sheet for my friend, and it was double dosed to begin with. But then I had taken it to some different festivals and things where it was hot, and I was like, okay, there's probably heat damage, this maybe, and I don't know, like, what's the idea behind that I had in my mind, but it was certainly not. And I was like, oh, I'll just take extra. And so I took a bunch, which was like the equivalent of probably 8 tabs or something like that. And I I just fried out of my mind to the point where like the burning was happening of this giant man. He's like 50, I don't know how much, 100 feet tall, some crazy number. He's giant, and they burn this thing. It's like a sacrifice. And then I'm just like, in my mind, all of a sudden, I'm like next to the BBC. There's like real like news sources documenting, and I'm like, oh, I'm here to give a speech. Like in my mind, I thought I was, and I'm like giving this speech about how incredible Burning Man is, and then all of a sudden, there's cameras everywhere around me, like hundreds of them. People are closing in on me with video cameras and news reporters, and I'm like, get the fuck away from me. Like I was having open eye, full on delusional, because I guess what happened was I got hungry, and then I ate a bunch of weed brownies that my parents made, but the weed brownies were so strong that normally you would just pass out, your eyes go bloodshot, but when you're on acid you don't fall asleep. So it was like, that's probably what pushed the edge to the next level as well, because like it started getting super paranoid, and I think the weed brownies was a big part of that, and also maybe taking the hallucinations to another level, because I never had those types of hallucinations on LSD, but maybe I just never had taken quite enough, you know. But it was so crazy. So they're closing in on me, and I'm like riding this big wheel chopper bike through the desert. I'm like, get the fuck away from me. I'm like cruising down, I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I hit anybody. Like, I'm ready to just plow them down. I'm going through, and I start overheating. It's essentially like a PCP type moment. I know you used to dabble.
Yeah, I love that shit.
So I started overheating. I'm like, oh my God, I rip all my clothes off. I'm completely naked. I had a backpack filled with like 1.5 ounces of mushrooms. I just throw everything that I had, the bike down, and I'm just like running, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get, and I think all these like devils and things are trying to kill me, and I'm like, start going into this like dark reality where I'm basically, I at some point like collapse, and my eyes are playing movies. They're open, but I'm just watching movies, and it shows my naked body on the front page of the newspaper, and it's like, boy overdoses at Burning Man. And then I'm transported to my funeral, and I hear all my family's there, my intermediate aunts, uncles, cousins, grandma, and parents and whatever, and everyone's just weeping. They're like, he was such a good kid, but he did so much drugs. So I essentially had watched my life play out as a drug addict. Like there was a moment before that where I was running, and I went from like this light around me that like, cause that day or the day before I found out I was gonna play my first big DJ event, so I felt like there was this like light that was around me, and as I ran further and further out into the desert, the light disappeared, and I was just in darkness all alone, and I watched myself age from my childhood to an old, weathered out, old skeleton man, and then at that point I died. It was this whole thing. I watched my life play out as an addict, and then basically I was so high I couldn't even see. I was just watching movies. I'm running through the desert, and there's the outside perimeter fence, which is a snow fence. I couldn't even see it. I was so fucking high, hallucinating these things that I flip over, and my body's covered in blood, like cuts on my dick. I'm sure you know how that is with some of your stunts. Especially the ball sack stapling.
Yeah, I've been there, man.
I keep running though. I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. This is hell. Like I'm trapped in this never-ending rave hell. I thought I was like, there's like all these rave things, and I would be going in circles, and it was just like I thought I was paying for my sins as a raver almost. Like the rave music was just never ending, and I'm like running out there trying to escape this hell realm, and I eventually like, and I'm just. My body's like, I'm trying to rip. When I was on the ground, I try to hit I think I'm dead, right? But my body is still going. I don't understand it exactly, but it was almost as if my brain had been destroyed and my body was still going. So I was on the ground, hitting my head against the bottom desert floor, which is incredibly hard. And I was hitting my head, pulling on my hair, trying to pull my brain out of my head. And so it was this crazy thing. So my head's now warped. I'm covered in cuts. I'm running as far as I can. My feet are covered in cuts because I'm running on rocks and stuff. And eventually at a certain point, I came down enough. And I'm like, there's nothing out here. And I see the light in the distance, like miles out. I could have easily died. It's like freezing out there, and it's like probably 2 a.m. in the morning. And I'm just like running out there, and then I'm like, there's something in the distance. I was like, I gotta go to the light.
And that was the Burning Man.
The Burning Man had already been burnt, but the actual event, the festival is filled with lights and craziness. So I was running towards that. I saw it in the distance.
Yeah, they have like a big Ferris wheel kind of.
They got everything you could imagine. But yeah, I'm saying like giant rubber ducky discotheques. You know, it's just like a crazy art scene.
See, we could have this RV there and just like kick it in the RV.
You could interview all the people out of their mind on ketamine.
Yeah.
But long story short, then I like hopped over this fence because I could see again, and I'm running in, and all of a sudden, woo, 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 crew, there's like a ranger. Basically, they have people guarding the perimeter. This was like when I had come down enough that my mind was melted, but I could still see again. And they were like, "Did you just sneak in?" I was like fully naked. I was like, "Sneak in from where?" Like, so I like run into the thing, and now I'm like entering into a party of 60,000 people. I'm completely naked, and I don't have my clothes, and I'm like streaking through this party.
What happened to the backpack full of mushrooms?
Lost it all.
I was thinking about that.
God. It was crazy because that mushrooms, I used to sell mushrooms, and there were mushrooms that I was going to sell to people, and then my parents found them. That was part of like the reason too. Like that was part of around that era was like when I got kicked out, and basically they gave me the mushrooms back. They're like, give it away to people at Burning Man. So it was always supposed to be a gift to the burners. But anyways, long story short, I come back and I'm like freezing after hours. I'm covered in cuts. My mind's fried out of just completely useless. I couldn't even remember where I was staying if I wanted to. And so I was just walking around freezing. And this woman, I started like weeping. I was just had hit such a crazy rock bottom. And this woman's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Not really. I don't really know where to go. I lost everything. I don't know where I'm staying." And she's like, "Oh, come with me." And like, she took me back and like her friends were there and they gave me this giant cloak. And then they gave me like some water and some cookies. They nurtured me. That's the cool thing of Burning Man. Everyone's kind of looking out for each other. You know, there's a lot of like love in the air. And maybe that's not everyone. There's a lot of random people who show up and are there to frat bro party out or whatever. But the core is kind of this like very loving experience.
Are there people like bartering sex and shit?
I don't think so, but there's definitely orgies and stuff like that.
And there's probably like 6-foot nitrous tanks with real sketchy people around.
You would be in heaven back old you.
Yeah. I remember that from being on Grateful Dead tour.
Yeah.
Like following their Grateful Dead.
How old were you?
20.
Wow.
I saw the Dead at the bowl, and then when I was walking out of the bowl, there was probably 2 blocks worth of nitrous tanks lined up.
Yeah,
and then as you get closer to it, you just hear the and people on the floor laughing as you're getting into Hollywood.
A while ago, or this is?
I mean, that was like 10 years ago.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I was eating mushrooms there.
But was it still? It was still called the Dead, or was it like Further, or one or the other?
It was the Dead.
Dead
It wasn't John Marriott.
They call it the Dead, Dead and Company.
Yeah.
Because I walked by, and I think it was Further or one of the like different versions of it that there is now, and it was literally just people with huge balloons just in the street.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they're just like take over Hollywood.
Yeah, there's a group of guys from Philadelphia. They call themselves the Nitrous Mafia.
Yeah, I know
and
of
they
them.
they just control the whole East Coast, and they just follow fish and.
There's a reason why they call it hippie crack.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it brings out the gnarliest.
I mean, there's a lot of money
Yeah.
in a nitrous tank, right? Like you can make
Big
so
time.
much money in a nitrous.
And back in
tank.
the day, it was $5 for a balloon.
Yeah, ice cold fatties, medical grade.
And then how many can you get off? How many balloons can you get off of a tank?
I mean, a 25
Thousands?
tank, you can get like a 2,000.
This guy sounds like he works for the Nitrous Mafia.
He's a fucking incel.
Yeah, dude. But the Nitrous Mafia on the East Coast, like, they're no joke though. Like, people would end up dead and like for like bringing their own tanks to festivals and shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
super
Look at
hardcore.
Isaac's on point. Inside the
An
Nitrous
East Coast
Mafia.
hippie crack ring.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so addicting too. Like while you're doing it, you just need
Yeah.
more. You come down
dude,
and you're
it's
like,
crazy.
load me up.
It's really, really crazy.
And when you're on other drugs too, it
Yeah,
takes
like-
it to such high levels.
Like these dudes would like, because the security would be so tight to bring stuff into the festivals, that there was this one called the Gathering of the Vibes in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and they would take scuba gear and they would scuba these nitrous
Whoa.
tanks from boats like nights before the festival and go dig them up, so like the tanks will already be on the grounds for when they get there. Yeah.
I mean, dude, there's high level stuff to get nitrous, like a medical grade nitrous.
For
like,
sure, yeah. Or you got to just have a good hookup with a dentist.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy that they sell it to kids, you know? Like, when I was
Right.
in high school, they would let me go in, and not tanks, but they would let you buy the ones for coffee.
Cartridges.
For
yeah.
coffee? Yeah,
crazy.
what's the reasoning? Because
And they
like
would
a
sell you
bong
a
is like
cracker for the balloon, and they would
Yeah.
sell it to me. I was like 15 or 16 at the time. They're like, yeah, you can have that. I was like, there's no, like, you can't buy cigarettes, but you can buy whippets.
Right. Where are you talking about buying those?
At a smoke shop.
Smokes. Wow. I
Yeah.
think you're supposed to be 18 to go into a smoke shop, aren't you?
Well, I
Not
grew
in
up in
Santa
Santa
Cruz.
Cruz. Things are maybe a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Fuck, man. When's your tour start?
At the end of next month, so I think it really starts in October and November. It is something that I've been working on for literally 5 years. Like this show, I've probably invested $4 to $5 million into this concert. So, and that sounds like a large amount, but with all the music videos and things that are in it, I can say it's well over that.
Dude, I get that easy. I've spent way more than $1 million on my bucket list show.
Yeah, and I saw you promoted that recently with jumping off of the London Bridge.
Yeah.
Bro, that is genius level marketing. I think that, I'll just say this, I don't think you get enough credit for being arguably the greatest marketer of our time.
Oh, I don't know about
Billboard. The Billboard was pretty fucking cool.
Billboard was one of the greatest ever.
I mean, everybody was like, yeah, dude, because that was when the Citizen app was popping. And it just went fucking bonkers on Citizen.
I appreciate that, man.
Do people say this to you often? They must.
I've gotten some credit. This one really worked out pretty well.
This one was up there with one of the greatest marketing stunts ever done.
Yeah, they weren't too happy.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man.
No, and that's the thing, you know, when I think about, and also that you're just so shamelessly self-plugging your things, but with the greatest names, and it's funny and it's entertaining. And I'm sure probably right about now you're about to turn into the camera and turn away at your house and say, "Hey, I'm Steve-O, I'm buying my butthole juice." I'm waiting for it. He's gonna do it right now.
What can I say? Oliver Tree knows about this podcast, and knowledge is power. That's why I use Whoop, man, because I want knowledge about what's going on with my body, with my health, with my sleep, with my recovery. And there is no way to get more knowledge about your body and your fitness than with Whoop. And man, I've got the killer new stylish Whoop band. I mean, dude, come on. Everything about this company is awesome. And it motivates me to stay on track, to be getting the exercise, keep track of the activities, the calories, and most importantly, the sleep. I don't know if you realize how important sleep is, but when you get your Whoop, then you're going to find out a lot about what's going on. It's going to tell you how much sleep you need. It's going to tell you how much sleep you got. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on, but what's important here is you go to Whoop.com, that's WHOOP.com, and you use the promo code Steve-O to get 10% off at checkout. Now, you're going to get the Whoop band with the waterproof charger totally for free, and you're going to get 10% off the membership. And, man, I just can't recommend it enough. So one more time, go to Whoop.com, use the promo code Steve-O, and change your life for the better. Now let's get back to it.
Cool. Well, I was going to say, so I've been like trying to promote a bunch of different stuff, and I actually wanted to see what maybe Steve-O would give for advice from a marketing standpoint. So I have someone here who's going to bring some of my new products, and I wanted to run them by you.
I love it.
And see if you have any ideas. So the first question I have for you is, do you ever grow facial hair? I've never really seen you with any kind of beard or anything. Can you grow it?
I have.
Okay.
Pull up Steve-O with the mustache.
Steve-O with a mustache. I grew out a mustache simply for the purposes of having it waxed off, because I've never seen somebody wax off a mustache.
And how painful was that?
It was
Hey, yeah, bring in the first product. So wait, actually, hold up right there. Can we bring him in?
Yeah.
Watch. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Watch
your head.
Hey, no. Just not the book. Yeah. Is this it? Okay. So basically, see, I hate to be the guy to say it, but I can see why you don't grow facial hair. You're not, it's not very thick and lush and dense. And I've been developing this product, and over the last few years, I've spent a lot of time trying to perfect it, and now I've got it down to just one capsule. But this is called Goatee Grow.
Nice.
And this is something I want to gift to you. It's a gift from me to you. And I was just wondering, how would you promote Goatee Grow? Do you have an idea? I would just love to hear some of your ideas. You don't have to spend much time, but I was just curious if something comes to mind. I want to do a quick run through of how Steve-O would promote some of these products.
I think the first thing that my head goes to is sex sells.
I like it.
Something that sex sells. So you want to have like a way of linking having a goatee to just being an absolute beaver magnet.
I love it.
Okay, so you got like, now I have goats at my house. They have like really like a couple of them. One in particular has like just the craziest goatee. I would probably start with my goatee.
Wait, can you say it and look into the camera?
Well, I would start with my goat at
and you'd
my
say,
house.
My name's Steve-O and...
Oh, yeah. Is it?
Like, you hold this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll reveal it and say.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. I'm Steve-O, and I'm here to tell you that nothing gets more beef than a solid goatee. Now, I don't have one. Why? Because I haven't been taking Goatee Grow. But now that I have Goatee Grow, get ready to see me smothered in vagina.
That was genius.
Dude, that was pretty on point.
That was good.
So if you want, I would suggest maybe you try taking your first one here.
All right, let's see what...
It's super high in nutrients. It's nothing bad. You can maybe take a few if I was you might need more than one. But it's not fully approved yet, but we have it down to, it's safe. Don't worry.
All right, well... It's been a long time since I took a pill that I didn't know what it was, but that was
from some guy.
From some guy.
Some sketchy dude.
that
You
was
just
my
talked
thing
about
back
Burning
in the day.
Man.
Yeah.
Did you get those at Burning Man?
No, I made them. I worked
Down
with
the
the
hatch.
team. You're a legend, bro.
Down the hatch, dude. Hopefully,
We'll see how you feel in about 20 minutes. Okay, so the next thing. So I understand you are a New York Times bestseller. Is this correct? Is it more than once or just one time?
Just once.
Only
man.
once? Oh, come on. A guy
only
with you
once.
and your marketing skills? You've written a few books, though, right? Or someone else writes it and you put your name on it. Wait.
I have 2 books, and I collaborated on both of them with the same guy.
So I know you're a professional New York Times bestseller, but I have a book I have been writing for the last 18 months, and it is The Ancient Art of Goatee Growing. And this is something that I am super proud of. It's something I'm actually unveiling it for the first time right here on the Wild Ride Show with Steve-O.
All right.
So I think, first of all, if you can, you can take a glance.
Are you tired of the same old clean-shaven look? Frankly, yes. I've worn it out. Do you long for a stylish and sophisticated facial hairstyle that will set you apart from the crowd? Look no further than The Ancient Art of Goatee Growing. This comprehensive guide takes you on a journey through the history and evolution of the goatee, from its origins in ancient Greece to its modern-day popularity. With step-by-step instructions and expert advice, you'll learn everything you need to know about growing and maintaining a perfect goatee.
So yeah, you don't have to read any more of that, but look in the inside. If you could just read the thesis really quick and just, I think it should be the first page, yeah.
A man without a goatee is like a lion without a mane. After nearly 4 billion years of goatees on planet Earth, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to grow one. For the last 5 years, Dr. Oliver McNichol has worked with a team of scientists in Morocco, perfecting the perfect goatee formula. With only 1 pill a day, now there's nothing stopping you from having the best goatee in your neighborhood. Go to goateegrow.com to learn more.
And that is officially live, so you can go and get your first helping Goatee Grow. So if you were to promote this book, how did you get your New York Times bestseller, and what would I do? What suggestion do you have for me to try to sell my book to get a New York Times bestseller for The Ancient Art of Goatee Growing?
I'd do a rap song.
I think music. Yeah,
Do a rap song about goatees.
That's good.
Have it go viral on TikTok.
Well, in my concert, I actually have a little snippet, and I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I actually got Eminem to rap a little bit about goatee and endorse Goatee Grow.
Nice.
So maybe with just, a little sign of a piece of paperwork, we'll put you into the commercial as well.
Hey, dude, I'm in.
Okay, that was an easy sell. Can you say that in the camera?
I'm in.
Okay.
Cool. Dude.
And then, okay, so I'm just thinking, I've also worked on this other book, and this one I spent a few years working on, and it's a graphic novel. It's called Alien Boys. Can we get my guy to bring it in? So, yep. So this book, I signed the inside, gave you a little bit. This one, and I know it's not a New York Times bestseller yet, But this did get a Nobel Prize.
Nice.
So,
a Nobel or a Nobel?
A Nobel Peace Prize, yeah.
Yeah. I like
So this is something that I wrote with my friend Orpheus Colbert.
Thank you for being an inspiration to me. Since childhood, I've looked up to a guy who covered himself in shit. You make the world a more colorful place. I'm proud of you for being sober and being an amazing role model. Never forget that you are a pioneer who has trailblazed their own wave. Thank you for existing at the same time as me. Sincerely, Oliver Tree. I love it, dude.
Thank you.
I really, really love it. Now, I heard speculation that Oliver Tree and Little Ricky are the same person.
No, he's a childhood friend, someone I grew up with. So he's the first signing to my record label, Alien Boy Records. And I recently just signed this new group, Supercomputer. So those are kind of my two focus things that I'm doing outside of my own project. But yeah, this kind of ties in the whole world of all the music videos and builds the universe. And I know you're probably... Do you read? Do you know how to?
I do know how to read. I think I've taken a turn towards audiobooks.
I love that.
You grew up with him, Lil Ricky?
Yeah,
He doesn't really look like that, though, does he?
I can't say too much, but yeah, he's a super sweet guy, and the music that he's making is fucking insane. So it's been pretty epic getting a chance to see and help him develop as an artist. And yeah, there's been some kind of delays and things that have held back his debut mixtape, but we've been working on it for a few years, and I'm really proud of it. He was featured on my first album, so it's been pretty epic. Anyways, okay, moving forward. I can't plug Lil Ricky too much because this is really about me.
Right.
And I've got to promote something else. So I have this new line of merchandise I've been working on really, really long time now. And it's a new whole collection. It's called Best Friends. And can we get my guy to bring in? I have a gift for you. This is for you to keep. All of these is for you to keep as well. So.
Okay, nice.
Your guy looks like you.
Oh, yeah, that's Turbo. He's one of our unpaid interns. He gets college credit. So.
What college?
What?
What college does he go to?
I think he goes to in the tri-state area. I don't know the name of it. So this is one of our first merch pieces.
Nice.
So
I think that's pretty sick.
You want to show?
Can you show the camera?
I sure can.
It's like Jay Leno and fucking
So
Oliver Tree.
Would you mind wearing it?
I don't mind at all.
I'd be honored.
I'd rock the shit out of that.
Yeah, dude.
Where can they get that?
They can get that at olivertreemusic.com. I'm selling it exclusively on my merch store.
Yeah, it is time.
Oh, look at you.
My dude was straight boiling.
I know, I've been waiting for that for a while.
All right, dude. Get a load of this. We are wearing matching t-shirts with images of us. And it's kind of a mashup of me and Jay Leno. Are you mashed up with somebody, or we're both mashed up with Jay Leno?
Both of us with Jay Leno. I'm a big Jay Leno fan.
You know, I've got Jay Leno's autograph tattooed on me.
No way.
Yeah, straight up.
And you also have a picture of yourself tattooed on you.
Yeah. Is it over here? Jay
Wow, he really went in on that one. Can you show the camera? That is quite impressive. He spent a lot of time on that one.
I was on the Tonight Show with my buddy Chris Pontius, and it was just a little gag. We got Jay Leno to autograph my shoulder blade. Then we went into commercial. By the time we came out of commercial, Pontius had fully tattooed it.
Wow. And I saw that you also have that other tattoo. Was it from Thailand, from Wild Boy?
Yeah.
Legendary. They just did whatever. I know you're trying to get the Angelina Jolie.
Yeah. I got the legit...
I wasn't sure if it was real.
I got the legit Angelina Jolie tattoo.
And Chris wasn't so lucky.
Yeah, Chris just got whatever.
Is it the same guy?
It's so funny, too, because Chris made MTV pay to get his tattoo lasered off.
Oh, damn.
And we were just talking about that the other day, and I was like, man, that's just too funny. Considering the garbage that you have tattooed on yourself, Chris, the fact that you cared enough to get something lasered off is really impressive.
Why did he want that lasered off?
Because it wasn't his choice. What he said in the bit, he goes, the oldest tattoo trick in the book. Guy asks for one tattoo, you give him another.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah. But
that's a legendary one. Okay, so my next question.
Okay.
What are you drinking in this?
This is coffee, man.
So you drink coffee a lot?
I drink a lot of coffee.
I thought you were sober. I'm serious.
Yeah, a lot of people do carve out caffeine.
So do you smoke cigarettes?
I'm what do you call it?
California sober? So you smoke weed?
No. I don't smoke weed. I don't smoke cigarettes.
Cool. Great for you. Yeah. So I love that you drink coffee because I have another thing that I'm selling, and can we bring in our next gift? So I wanted to see, I think you're really going to like this, by the way. Can you fly that over? So this is an official best friends piece.
Oh, you guys just became best friends.
Wow, dude.
That's something that maybe you can even drink it on the podcast. I don't know.
I am hyped on that.
Yeah. And that's, a celebration of your sobriety, how far you've come, and now you're down to just coffee.
Yeah, down to just coffee.
Check that out. Get a glimpse. Actually, can you hold that up?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, wow.
I'll hold it both ways. So that's you and me melded into one person?
Yeah, so I was going to ask.
That's epic.
Yeah. How would you
this is my new favorite mug.
I'm honored. I put a lot of thought into this. This was not something that just happened overnight.
Yeah, evidently.
I mean, this
How long does it take to get a mug like this?
Months. So if you were to promote the shirt and the mug, I mean, we could talk separately or together as a package. What would you do to promote it? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I mean,
don't mash your dicks together, mash your face together.
Here's what we've come to learn about selling t-shirts. The most effective way is to do it by pre-order, where you make a video, you make the announcement, you say that this t-shirt will only be available for 1 week.
And you lie to them, right?
No. We tell the truth. 1 week, and it'll never be available again.
Okay.
So get your order, and then by doing it that way, we've got a production team ready to turn around the orders super fast. So when we finish taking orders for that week, then we print the exact amount that we sold, and we ship them immediately.
And how long does it take for them to arrive from their payment point?
Well, it depends where they live, but
it depends at which point during that week they ordered it. If they're the very first people, we could be shipping out the first orders, and then,
Yeah, well,
I think people could reasonably expect to have it within a week.
That's impressive. That's a very
as soon as they order. Yeah. Oh, you mean after they?
Because the people who order at the beginning of the week, if we wait until the end of the week and then print it, then those people are looking at 10 days.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we have a batch go out at the beginning and then clean it up at the end.
But if we have it in stock, 2 to 3 days.
Right. But the whole idea is to not make more than you're going to sell.
Right. You don't want to end up with a bunch of inventory that you didn't sell. And you don't want to...
Can't you just bring it on tour with you, or then you have to pay new taxes on the tour?
No, we do that.
Yeah.
And you also don't want to leave a bunch of money on the table by not having enough.
Yeah.
So by doing this pre-order way, you definitely...
I'm going to use that.
Take the guesswork out of it.
I love that. I'm actually in the midst of launching my new clothing company, Alien Boy Clothes, ABC. And so this is one of the designs that I made for it. And are you cool if I legally sell these?
Dude, you can sell these.
Can you look into the camera?
Oliver Tree can sell these t-shirts until the fucking cows come home.
And you won't receive any residuals.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like you say that into the camera?
And I don't even want any residuals.
Thank you. You're a good man. You're such a legend, bro. And then the cup, how will we sell that?
I mean, dude, this here is arguably the most classic collab piece of merchandise ever made.
We could sell that on Steve-O and do a 50-50 take.
I'm prepared to do 50-50. And I know that because I'll be making enough with the shirts that 50 I can lose on this.
See, now with coffee mugs...
What's the trick?
Well, dude, we don't even have a trick, and I'm losing my mind over this.
You have a picture? Do you have one of yours here?
Hey, grab me
Let me
my
see
mug.
one. Maybe I can get one of yours.
I got a mug shot. Yeah, I'd love to give you one. You know what? I think it's up in this top cabinet. Oh, okay, there we go.
And the thing with this, with the design like that thing's just gonna sell itself.
Look at that. It's my legit mug shot on a mug. So it's a mug.
I love it, man.
And dude,
you look cold, man. What did you do?
That was my first DUI.
How many times have you been to jail?
Many.
I believe that.
Many times.
Have you ever been to jail?
I have not.
No?
I have not.
Yeah, I've been to jail. I've been to jail many times.
How many times?
I mean, it's
I like it. I'll take it, actually. I'll take it.
Yeah, you're welcome to have it. That, I thought, was the most genius thing we've ever made. Everybody drinks coffee.
It is. It sells itself at that point.
But it didn't. Like, for some reason...
It's the weirdest thing.
For some reason... when
I could give you some tips. I think it's a little scary. It's a little dark. I don't know. I feel like maybe we could have made it a little lighter, more fun. Is it a black and white photo we were working with to begin with? Or you were saving money on colors?
I don't know that would have made a difference.
Well, I can help you redesign this and get this if you want help.
All right.
I'm willing to extend my hand because the idea is genius. The mug could go big. I think it's the color combination and some of the actual aesthetic of the mug, maybe.
Why? What color would you do?
Oh, man. I would save that for another conversation. We could talk business after the pod.
Here's the thing, is that I just don't know that mugs are...
They don't sell like you want them to.
But
we do a limited run. 50-50. I mean,
the question is, what's the turnaround time?
Turnaround time, 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
it takes months
maybe
to get
cut
don't
that
quote
part
him
out.
on that.
It takes
Don't
months
quote me
to
on
get
it.
the prototype.
Oh, well, that's the thing. The prototype, they had to build the print. Now that the screen print is built,
Yeah.
bro, these things will fly off the shelves.
All right.
I
think
yeah.
I would be inclined to go with the T-shirts.
Okay.
Do a limited run.
I like
For
that.
50-50.
We're thinking more like a 75-25.
I mean, dude, I'm happy to do it. I don't know.
No one's going to want to buy these.
I don't know how many we would sell, but that's the thing. If you do the pre-order model,
Right.
then there's...
What was it? Is this off like the Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker movie?
Rush
Yeah,
Hour.
we might have some copyright issues.
Looks like a Rush Hour.
I based it off of Rush Hour, loosely. Allegedly.
Wow. I'll tell you what, man. I will cherish this T-shirt until the end of time.
Me too. This is my favorite shirt.
Yeah.
I wear it every single night.
I love it, man.
It's I would say one of my best designs. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to ask you is, apparently you have been beefing with BAM, and I think that the marketing has been incredible for your new skateboard with Chris Pontius. So I wanted to ask you.
But by the way, I'm not.
I know.
I'm not on any level. Am I beefing with BAM?
It's fake beef, but you're playing into that to sell your skateboards.
I was playfully responding.
Yeah. Is he legit mad at you? You think?
Yes.
Well, it's very hard, you know. But I will say, I have been working on my own skateboard design, my own line of skateboards.
Wow.
Nice.
And I wanted to present you the first one and just hear your thoughts about it. Can we bring in the skateboard? Can you come in here? Can you bring it to me, please? Scott, can you not touch it?
Yeah.
I don't want to get your slimy hands on it. Go down.
That's a new one.
All right, thank you. So, I'm really, really proud of this. This is my favorite design I've ever done. You're good. You can go. You're good to go home now. So this is a skateboard that is the first copy of an entire line. We've printed out 10,000 of these things already.
Wow.
But I wanted to present you the first one, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on how you would promote it. So.
Okay. Nice. Steve-O and Oliver Tree. I mean,
Jesus.
This thing sells itself. I mean, you kidding me? like
That's you?
It's an image.
It's us.
It's an image of me and Oliver kissing each other.
Is that a mullet or a do-rag?
That's my exact haircut I have right now.
Yeah, that is. He's partying his ass off in the back.
It's the technically speaking, it's the bowl cut mullet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are your thoughts? How would I go about as an underground scooter rider, not really a skater? What would be the best way for me to try to sell this product?
I love that you gave me a little bit of a goatee right there.
Yeah, I tried to just spruce it up a little.
Just like a week down the line.
You're getting some beaver already.
Yeah, so this thing sells itself. Of course, with skateboards, like it is a piece of art, and when you sign it, that
right. So you'll be willing to sign that? And
yeah,
some
all 10,000.
Okay, cool.
All 10,000.
Do you actually sign this stuff yourself, or maybe one of you guys signs it?
Yeah, dude. Like I spent half my life.
Can I get my grubby
stuff.
hands on it?
I prefer if you didn't.
Okay.
Oh, you could look at it though.
But can you show the camera? Because I want to make sure they get a good shot.
Yeah, we don't want to alienate our audio-only people, so let's describe how intimately we're kissing on this.
You can touch it.
It should basically just have a Bud Light logo on it.
There you go.
It's beautiful.
But okay, so any thoughts? Is there any one idea? You know, because I saw you were really promoting this new skateboard with Chris on super, super well and efficiently. I was wondering maybe how you could help me promote my skateboard.
You guys should reenact it and then pull out.
Literally just about to say the same thing.
I have discovered recently, as you pointed out, that beef sells. So I would propose...
Fake beef that's for the best friends line.
I would propose that you and I get very angry.
I think that would be, for sure, I've used that one many times.
Yeah. Best friends is the line.
Right.
You know, we could maybe beef with Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino.
Dude, those guys are jokes.
Yeah.
Especially Bobby Lee.
I mean, I think Bobby Lee's a little bit more authentic.
I've beaten him up multiple times. I could take him down. He's like 3 feet tall.
Yeah. My beef is more with Andrew Santino.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What's the beef?
I mean, he wasn't particularly responsive to texts, and then when he did respond, he would pass me off and blow me off. And
for what? You wanted him on this?
We made up.
You wanted him on this?
Yeah.
Or he was too big time.
He big timed me.
Wow.
He big timed me, but as Scott said, we did make up, and now I'm willing to unmake up.
Can you remind me of that text that you sent him?
Yeah, eat shy.
Eat shy.
Yeah, SHIY. But yeah, I would happily unmake up and resurrect the beef because I think that would be the strongest way to sell our skateboards.
So me and Bobby was a bit different. He stole my hat. I was in Koreatown, and then me and my crew went there, and then I was wearing this super cool beanie, and Bobby Lee took it and was wearing it, and I pulled it off, and there's actually footage that leaked online. Someone was filming it. There's footage of us physically fighting, and then we tried to make amends, and I went on his podcast, and it just made things worse, and we had a physical altercation, multiple, on his podcast. Okay, that leads me to my next thing. I have this new album coming out, Alone in a Crowd, and I wanted to be the first one to give you the first person I have not given this to anyone. Can we bring in one of the...
I thought you sent him home for the day.
Well, I'm not sure if it's... Yeah, sorry about that. So this is my new album, Alone in a Crowd. I spent the last 3 years making this, but really... Most of this year I was living in Brazil, and I was working on it there, I wrote a lot of the new music, a lot of new material on it, but this is something I'm very proud of. The vinyl, this is a limited edition vinyl because this is not the official album cover. I had to keep evolving it and changing it, and the songs are slightly altered because you have to turn in the vinyl 9 months early, and so my version that gets released digitally has been since evolved and amplified. So this is the worst version of the art and the music, but it actually makes it more valuable, if you can believe that. But anyways, this is my third studio album, Alone in a Crowd, and I was wondering...
Is this the more country...
No, the country stuff didn't work. I had to give that up.
Okay,
so... And this is the third final installment. This is the last album I'll ever release, so that will make it even more valuable.
Oh, yeah?
And... I wouldn't...
Can I open it?
Yeah. I could sign it, too, if you guys got some kind of pen. We would probably need a silver one or something, though. I don't know if black's going to help. But, yeah.
The,
black and red. Red could work, yeah.
What's your... I got a ramp. I'm finishing up a skate ramp.
I saw that.
Damn, I'm so hyped on it.
I might have to come through, show you how it's done.
Damn, I'm so hyped on it.
It looks crazy, and you're being a good neighbor, too. I saw that.
Yeah, dude. Even I wasn't a good neighbor this morning, man.
What happened?
The construction crew showed up at literally like 6:30 in the morning. By 7 a.m., like
on your ramp?
Yeah, well, but they're building a fence on the
I think
back.
legally you can start at 7.
Oh, yeah?
You start at 6?
If you start at 6:30, you'll get a fine like you wouldn't believe. 6:59, you're fucked. 7, you're good to go.
Shit, I did not know that.
There's some, yeah.
Yeah, it's the red vinyl. It's transparent, red.
Dude, my girl has a record player at the house.
Well, I'm sure you're not going to listen to it, but
I would love to
give it a
listen
spin
to it.
one day. You're the first person to ever hear it. It's not out yet. No one's... I haven't given one of these to anybody, so I thought I would give
thank you,
the
brother.
honor to you. So, in return of me gifting it to you, how would you promote this?
Music video like we talked about.
I'm not asking you, buddy.
Sorry.
Wait, are you the guy who comes up with all his ideas? Because if so, I am
Just
curious.
like, you know.
Well, the music video, that's already been done. I filmed 3 videos in Serbia, and I made it a 3-part series. The 3rd one's still not out yet, so that is being taken care of. I put out 2, but...
I'm really fascinated with this cover art, dude.
Thank you.
Is each person, like their image was shot separately and then all put together?
I decomposite them together.
It's really, really pretty killer. Wait, what's the...
Only pretty killer, I see how it is.
it's epic, dude. What is the musical direction here? You said country didn't work.
Yeah. So this is fusion. I would call the genre alternative pop, but it goes from everything from hip-hop to dance music to alternative pop music, electronic. There is rock in there too. It's fusion.
Okay, now check this out, dude. I have this thing that I don't do nearly enough.
What is it?
I pick an album and I listen to it on a loop, belligerently, over and over. Nothing but that one album for weeks on end, so that I fuse the period of my life that I'm in with that music, and so that for the rest of my life, if I ever hear anything from that album, it teleports me back to the time.
Very powerful thing.
Yeah, and I think that I've decided to do that with this
Wow,
album.
you're gonna hear one song and turn it off.
No, I don't know. That's happened with some albums, but I don't think that's gonna happen with this
Well, the
one.
thing is, if you don't like one song, just go to the next one, because there's such diversity in it that there's gonna be one thing that you could love in there.
And,
I've heard your rap music. It's pretty similar.
It's pretty, what do you call it, aggressive.
Yeah, it's very aggressive. That's an understatement.
Okay, so you said this is not out yet?
No, it comes out September 29th. So this is, you're
Wow.
early, you're right at the beginning, but I wanted
Damn.
to, I had to beg the label, and I asked the label, I was like, can I give Steve-O one? And they said, no, we don't want him to leak it out. I was like, that would be the greatest thing we could ever do. Fans like buy the shit and leak it out themselves. They like find these gateways in the system and are able to exploit it, and then they steal my music and sell it. So I mean, I was like, if Steve-O wanted to, I would be lucky.
I'm not gonna leak
I would
it,
be
though.
happy if you did, actually.
Well, I'm not gonna leak it, dude.
Isn't that
But,
crazy that was their response? Was we're concerned that he's gonna leak it. I was like, it's vinyl. The dude would have to go through a lot of trouble to try to leak this out. And I was like, and if he did, it would be the greatest thing that he could do for us.
Yeah, dude. Well, I don't know.
You wouldn't know how to promote it.
I'm bad at music.
Well, you could do a stunt or something too.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you specifically, it would be great if Steve-O did a proper stunt. No, but for me, is there anything you can think of, just the worst idea, anything that comes to mind?
I think that when it comes to music, you want to get the music to people. So, like, I mean, do you want to right now, a cappella?
I think I'm good.
Okay. that you know. Let's look at the track list here. If there's something that's particularly salacious, you could draw attention to that. Like, we've got the first track is called Bounce.
It's about sex.
Bounce.
Yeah.
So you're bouncing up and down on. All right, that's good. You want to let people know that. I'll let people know.
Oh,
that.
maybe I have to put that in parentheses on the digital.
Yeah, bounce up and down on D's nuts.
I like that. You could do the remix. We'll get you on a rap verse.
Yeah, okay, good. What else do we got here? Ugly Side.
Yep.
Ugly Side. What's that about?
Someone's, other side to them, the side that maybe isn't, let's just say, the most, the side that they like to show people, but the side that comes out when maybe, you know, you see the real them. Or they have something to lose, you know. I think people don't tend to show too much of themselves until maybe they don't get what they want, and then you start to see other sides to people.
That wasn't my first assumption. My first guess would have been that, this person, they're kind of on the ugly side.
Like us, you know? But yeah, anyways, you don't need to go through the whole track list, but anyways, I appreciate you even taking the time to listen to it.
Yeah. And I think that it's masterful. I think that is, in and of itself, a very solid way to promote something by simply presenting it to somebody and asking them how they would promote it. Because really what you're doing is promoting it by doing that.
Maybe. Potentially. Can we bring in the next thing? Is my guy still here? He's just waiting out there in the sun. Poor guy. Turbo? So, oh yeah, bring this in. So, this is something I got for you that you could put up in your house, probably right above your bed.
Nice.
So this is my tour, Alone in a Crowd.
That's sick.
The tour. And it's a movie, because I'm performing the movie live as a play, and as a concert, and a TV show, and a movie. Oh. And I got the dates here. You can see
Little Ricky's going to be there.
Across the board from New Zealand, Australia. I go through Europe and into the UK. So my question is to you. First of all, what do you think?
I think it's fantastic. I think you got Auckland starting in New Zealand, all right? This is all international.
No America. We're not even touring it in America. Only overseas.
Strong. Yeah.
We found it does better overseas.
Okay, good. Yeah, so
what would you do to promote this?
I mean,
because I'm thinking about maybe taking it to some podcasts. Do you have any suggestions of like podcasts that would be good for me to take? Maybe try to promote the tour on.
I think that you have a pretty strong podcast network. Yeah, okay. You know, like you're hitting all the heavy hitters. Like you just do the ones you're doing.
Okay, next question. How would you promote it? Is there some kind of stunt that you would do? Is there anything that comes to mind? Because your execution on both the last two performances that you filmed the new one, right? Bucket List?
Yeah.
So those probably some of the best promotion I've seen. I mean, the only person who even takes toe-to-toe even by one baby toe is maybe Logan Paul. There's a couple of people like that who come to mind that are pretty legit marketing guys.
Super good.
But you are on another level, and you're willing to risk it all. So is there anything that comes to mind how you would promote this tour?
Alone in a Crowd. I think... I think this is gonna sell itself, dog. I mean, you did Red Rocks. Like, what's the capacity there? 15,000?
I think it's only like 8 or 9, so it's not that big.
Still pretty damn sick. Collabs. Sell stuff. The Mark Rebillet. Do you know that guy?
Oh yeah, I think I know of him.
Yeah, he puts together the.
Yeah.
I think.
Who?
Get together with him. I think.
Yeah, I've got some cool openers. I got Swayco and Tommy Cash, #1 guy in Estonia. Then Little Ricky and Supercomputer My Axe will be coming to all the shows. So there's a pretty crazy lineup. Yeah. I'm very proud of this. But maybe we put this right in front of the camera so we can get a shot of it the whole time.
Yeah.
We can just maybe park it there for the remainder.
I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, you can put it down.
I think this is you've done a fantastic job.
How many more gifts did you bring?
Well, actually, was planning to do a miniature interview. Can we bring in my interview stuff? This you're gonna freaking love. What's up with the hair, dude? Freaking bowl cut's falling off. So I want to present you this
100 questions with Dr. Stephen Gilchrist Glover.
Wow. So can you show this? So this one's legit, dude. Don't touch that.
Okay.
I'll be taking it from here. So I've worked very hard. I've watched every Jackass movie for the 8th time. every episode of Wild Boys, I pieced together a very in-depth interview. So, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Please.
Okay. Give me a second. This thing is still... I bought like 6 of these things and they literally, none of them fit my eye. I have small eyes. Okay. So I'm just gonna...
You need something to write on?
The skateboard could be good, yeah. So, first things first. I got this set up. This is how... I'm kind of old-fashioned, and I like to kind of keep it old school. Fuck. So, I have this shit handwritten onto a scroll, and this is 100 questions with Steve-O. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. I want to write this down. All right. First things first. What's the worst thing you've ever done?
Ooh, the worst thing I've ever done. I'll tell you one that comes to mind. My buddy Tommy had this idea.
Tommy who?
Tommy Caudill. He had this idea. He called it the poo handle, and like to go to a gym and like some big like.
Wait, can you slow it down?
Muscular guy, like watch him get out and walk into the gym, and then go and tuck a piece of poo under his door handle.
Jesus.
So when he came
Wait,
out
can you say that last part again?
tuck a piece of poo under his door handle. So when
I
he comes
thought
out of the
that's
gym, like you know, he's knuckle deep in poo as he reaches under his car door handle. So
How'd that play out?
well, I didn't do it. I'm so embarrassed to admit this. And it was in the 90s, okay? I pulled on a chick.
You what?
You did it to... Did you film it?
Yeah, I think I did. Like, I filmed. I don't know what happened to the footage. Like, it's like, why did I even do that? You know, like...
It was the 90s.
Jesus, man, I wasn't expecting that. I'll just move on to the next question. We have limited time here. Okay. This one I think you're going to like. Who do you hate the most in the Jackass crew?
Who do I hate the most? I'm pretty angry at all of them right now.
Why is that?
Well, because I sent them all an invite to my skate party.
To sell your skateboards?
Well, no, I'm having a...
Yeah, you're mad. Okay, go on.
not one of them RSVP'd. They didn't even respond.
What was the goal of the skate party?
I got my new ramp.
You got your new boards on sale now at Steve-O.com.
Maybe that's it. All right.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. All right. This next one is...
I'm gonna have a panic attack if you go through all 100.
I'll make it quick. Okay. I've seen your body covered in shit, piss in your mouth, bees covering your dick, taking beer bongs up your butthole. What does your dad think about your stunts?
My dad is able to compartmentalize. Mm-hmm. He sees the business potential. He's able to be supportive of the business of what I do, while not being in love with the creative of what I do.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, we can keep moving faster. What do you think about making a best friends TV show where you and I go around the world and get into crazy hijinks and shenanigans?
I'm all for it, dude. My only problem is being at the mercy of corporate establishment.
No corporate.
And, like just put it on YouTube kind of a thing.
Yeah, we'll pay for it 50-50, well, 25-75.
Yeah, okay, cool.
You'll do the 75.
Yeah, good.
Okay, but yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I'll pay the 75 for the budget, but you keep 75 of the profits.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. When I was a kid, me and my cousin used to watch Jackass, and we would play this game called Dumbass. And we would throw ourselves down the staircase. How does it feel knowing you inspired a generation of kids breaking their arms?
I got some headlines not long ago when I acknowledged that in the beginning of Jackass, when the media wasn't so fragmented, when there wasn't YouTube and stuff, that like Jackass was legitimately, I thought, I would say, a bad influence. But in the many years since then, I think you can't really point there's so many different ways to point the finger. I don't feel culpable.
100%. All right, you can only pick one, Jackass or Wild Boys. Ooh. Be real, Steve-O. This isn't about money. This isn't about ratings. What was more fun? If you could only do one for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
It's a good question.
Do one for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Jackass, and I'm going to qualify that with just there were certain situations with Wild Boys where I didn't feel good about how animals were treated.
I can see that.
And now a lot of people say, yeah, well, you guys mistreat animals on Jackass. Like,
didn't PETA come after you?
Yeah. I'm much more comfortable with the way animals were used on Jackass than in certain cases on Wild Boys. Right. I'm not going to defend every use of animals on Jackass, and it's not my decision whether they get used or not.
Yeah.
But I'm more comfortable with Jackass.
Is there a favorite Wild Boys story or stunt that comes to mind after all the traveling you did?
Wild Boys story. Then I'll refer you to our Wild Ride episode with Jeff Tremaine.
Okay.
We really, really dug into the sewer on that one.
We don't need to bother. Do you ever go back to Brazil? I know that you moved there when you were 6 months.
Went there for Wild Boys. Don't believe I've been back since.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you went after Wild Boys. It's an incredible place, man. I recorded most of this album here in Rio de Janeiro. And I was in this glass house on top of the hill in the jungle, and I would just go to the beach every day and then go record. It's a magical place. You should go back for not work purposes one day. Shout out Brazil. Okay, moving forward. Let's see here. Were you on drugs for Wild Boys?
I was.
How did you acquire drugs in these different territories? Was that hard? Because you seem pretty out of it for some of it. And Chris, too. He looked...
Yeah, we did a lot of drinking.
Okay, drinking, yeah, but were you doing hard stuff or no?
A lot of drinking. I smuggled weed to just about every place that I couldn't be confident in finding weed. With respect to the harder drugs, the Wild Boys would actually represent little intervals in between drug benders. Mm-hmm. I would typically be still awake for days on end, cocaine bender. When we went to the airport to start the Wild Boys trip, it would be like a day of travel, like a day of and then by the time we're shooting, I've kind of recovered from the bender and I'm not on hard drugs.
So the sleep deprivation carried some of the...
Yeah. Yeah, Wild Boys was a crazy chapter in my life, man.
How about being sober now, being around people who are fucked up, like when you see someone super drunk, or how does it make you feel?
What's
your tolerance for bullshit?
I'm not too concerned with it. I mean, I don't really care to be around people who are super, intoxicated. But with that said, like, I spent 11 years in sobriety touring comedy clubs where people have to drink. It's like 2-drink minimum.
Do you get... sorry.
Not a problem being around it.
Yeah. What about when someone asks you the same fucking question 4 times in a row? That ever happened to you where they're so drunk they're like,
Yeah.
I love you, man.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me you're going to be here? And then it's like
a
loop. It's so crazy seeing that. When you get off of a comedy tour, do you find that you feel depressed sometimes?
No, I just want to get home to my animals.
Because, like, for me, after a tour, like, especially a big one, I get, like, fuck. Like, from hearing the screaming every night and the crazy energy and then going back to being a normal person and doing laundry can kind of feel a little bit like, from a high standpoint, the high is so high, and then you go down to normalcy and you crash. You have you never have that. You don't experience that.
That's not something that I relate to too much.
It only started recently when the shows got bigger for me.
Okay.
The highs got more intense, I think.
I like that.
But I'm sober doing it, but I'm just noticed that like
I like that, and I'm questioning myself, why don't I have that experience?
It might be a music thing. It happens with music. Like musicians get depressed sometimes after the tour. Maybe because I don't know.
Yeah, I just think that touring can be like kind of grueling, and it's just like, ooh, I really want to get home, especially like with my animals at home, and I just want to like get back, like whatever the first flight is after the last show, like I typically want to be on that and get home as soon as I can.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you have, is it your partner is your wife or no?
We're getting married soon, finally. We've been engaged
I'm looking
for a long
forward
time.
to getting the invitation.
Yeah, dude.
I'll be there. I'll be wearing this.
It's going to be in Tennessee.
I can't wait. I love Tennessee.
Good.
I'll be there. Send me the dates and I'll be setting it up.
Yeah, we'll have a date soon.
I can't wait, man. I'm happy for you.
Maybe you could be our wedding DJ.
Bro, I'll be there.
Heavy dubstep.
I'm not cheap, but I put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, what about, I wanted to ask you about your drug abuse side effects as you've gotten older. Do you start to feel certain things more? Do you find that, now that you're sober, do you not really feel like you have much effects, or do you feel like as you've gotten older, you're like, oh, my back from all the ecstasy or something like that?
I'm starting to, I'm noticing issues with my right hip, which are kind of bothering me, and I'm going to get into
Is that from drugs, though?
No.
Okay. So that's just, you're just getting old.
Tear, yeah.
All your stunts.
Ice bath.
Yeah.
Rice bath.
Ice bath.
I don't know. I gotta get it. I'm gonna get into the doctor and do an MRI because I just built this awesome ramp and it's like uncomfortable to skate it.
Damn. Does it pop in and out?
Doesn't pop in and out, but I can definitely notice like.
Go back to stem cell.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
So, when you see footage of yourself on drugs, do you recognize that person? Do you see it? Does it seem like it's someone else, like you're watching someone else, or does it feel like you're like, oh, that was me?
I remember it very well.
Yeah.
I remember it very well, and there's something about seeing footage of me on drugs that it almost like makes me relive it. Like I can really I remember it too well.
Wow.
You know, like it makes me a little bit uncomfortable because it kind of puts me back in that time.
So after the drugs stopped, what did your addictions hop to?
Sex, food, spending.
Money, yeah. Those are like the main things I feel.
Yeah, like just the dumb shit on it. And if I open up my Amazon app and there's no presents coming, like I feel a little bit empty.
Wow.
Like I like to always know that I've got presents coming.
For me,
Amazon.
I don't live anywhere. Like I don't have an address or live anywhere. This is my manager's house.
Okay.
So I don't actually collect stuff. I don't buy things. For me, it's more the collecting of the money. Stacking it up.
Oh, there you go.
But it's kind of like, you know, at a certain point you want to live somewhere, so I'm hoping to be able to get a proper spot, but...
Yeah, I definitely I buy pretty negligible stuff on Amazon, so I'm not like, when I say spending, like I don't have like a really flashy lifestyle, you know, like, but yeah, I definitely want to set myself up with savings so that I can...
retire.
Live comfortably and not be like a lot of entertainment industry people who went way past the time they should have gone.
What about doing stunts sober versus being fucked up? Did it compare much or no?
They have a saying, if you take away the alcohol from a horse thief, you got a sober horse thief. I'm a sober attention whore.
So nothing changed?
Pretty much. I mean, there was some acclimation to sobriety, but yeah, the will to do the stunts was never because of drugs and alcohol. It was because I'm an attention whore.
Yeah. All right, well, question real quick. I know this is played out, but for you, what's either the scariest stunt that you ever did or that someone in the crew did? That, like, when you think about, like, what was the most gnarly, maybe for yourself or anyone in the entire crew, what comes to mind?
Just bulls.
So Johnny's stuff?
Yeah, Johnny's stuff with bulls.
That last one really did a number.
Yeah,
did he recover fully?
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, like, there's concern with concussions that, like, actually it's a super delayed effect, and so the damage is done, but it won't really present until later. So you gotta have a concern that is the reckoning to come, Like that's scary.
Does he still have a stutter? I saw he got kind of like a stutter from the head injury.
Oh, I don't know Knoxville to stutter.
No, I just saw some interviews where he was talking and he would kind of like his speaking shifted. It was probably right after it happened.
Maybe.
You didn't notice that
I don't notice that. And I monitor my communication with Knoxville pretty closely.
What percentage of a shot is, God, I hope it looked good, and is going to make the video, or like versus the actual pain of it? Because I know that if it doesn't look good enough, you're... And so how much of it are you kind of like playing up the reaction? Not to, if you don't want to talk about that, it's okay.
Oh,
but I know you guys are doing stuff that could kill you and is super risky. But I know that it is a movie.
I don't think anybody's playing up a reaction.
You never think so.
I don't think so. And I think that the barometer, like if there's a metric for whether a Jackass bit works, it's the reaction of the guys in the peanut gallery.
Right.
Like if the guys aren't giggling, then it didn't work. If the guys are giggling, then it worked. And I don't think the peanut gallery of guys, watching something happen is ever gonna pretend to giggle if they don't find something funny.
Right. What's the worst thing you've eaten for a stunt?
Worst thing I've eaten for a stunt. I don't know. It's pretty all bad stuff. Like
horse cum.
That was Pontius, but
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some pretty terrible stuff. Maybe Preston Sweat.
Ooh,
probably the grossest.
Yeah, that was rough. I've seen that a few times. Yeah. So I guess I wonder sometimes what goes through your mind while stunts happening. Like when the shark. That seems like one of the gnarliest ones for you. Was when the shark, when you hit your foot against the shark, you like kicked it. Was that up there with one of the most scary ones for you?
Yeah, dude, I'm really excited that I've just finished up a video I made with Chris Pontius called 10 Times We Could Have Died.
Wow. So you cover this all.
I literally...
But what went through your mind?
I saved that video for a long time, man. Like, I've got, like, sort of the Silver Bullet collection, and, like...
Was there something that you were thinking when that was happening? You're just like, get me out?
Up until that point, I felt pretty unaccountable for anything I did around sharks. I don't know why, but that one, it occurred to me, wow, like that could have been really bad.
Yeah. Are you shocked that things didn't turn out worse for what you guys had done over the years, or you think there was a level of calculation with most of this stuff that it was practical enough that you...
I think that there were a lot of close calls. There were a lot of risks that... I wouldn't be necessarily comfortable taking at this point in my life. But with that said, everything that we did, we approached it like with the idea of getting away with it.
Yeah. Do you feel like Jackass and Wild Boys would be the same as what it was if it came out today? Or do you feel like with like cancel culture and the rules and appropriation and these different things that it couldn't have even existed? Obviously, you made Jackass 4, but that had to shift its tone a little bit.
I think that Jackass has aged pretty well because it's devoid of any bad intention. It's like
I'm not saying there was bad intention.
The spirit of it was very positive.
Wild Boys.
Wild Boys, there a lot of things that wouldn't age well.
I feel like I was watching it and I'm like, that's crazy. But also. It's just from a very different time period.
Right. There's stuff on Wild Boys that wouldn't age well, that would be considered appropriation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the spirit of what we were doing, was never a negative,
Yeah, I know that wasn't the intention.
We were really ambassadors of goodwill.
And I think in a lot of ways you could have the mindset of someone could say, oh, this is appropriation, but for you're representing the culture, even though you're maybe not the guy to do it.
Right. And
you're I'm sure some of the people were like, oh, this is showing off our culture to new people in the world, and there's something to be said about that, but that's another conversation.
Right. I remember before my last Australia tour, I pulled a clip of Pontius and I dressed up as Aboriginals with Aboriginals throwing boomerangs. And it was classic because Pontius threw this boomerang and it came back and nailed him in the head. And he was bleeding from his head. It was just a classic bit. but the people who are close to me said, "Oh, dude, that's not gonna play well."
Yeah.
Even though we were with like native Aboriginal Australian people who dressed us up themselves, I would imagine that kind of makes it a little bit less offensive. But you're right. You go anywhere near that, and people get real bent out of shape. But I stand by the spirit and the intent.
So this I want to word right, but this is something I thought about, which I don't know if people have brought this correlation to you, and you might not see any connection with this, but I feel like Jackass was born during a time that was extremely homophobic, and you guys came along wearing your G-strings, getting naked with the bros, showing off your asses, or shoving things up them, touching each other's dicks, drinking animal semen. You guys seem to normalize male nudity, which is still even a taboo thing in this day in America. I feel like you guys were almost allies to the queer community in an interesting way.
Not and even almost.
I know. Well, I'm saying it's just in case you didn't see this. But from my outside, it's like there's even the rainbow on the Dick House production logo, which that's very obvious. But I was just gonna ask, how much of that was a conscious decision?
I think that there's something that we got a kick out of, like making homophobic people uncomfortable. There's kind of a sense of like the jock bro,
right.
like
which I'm sure is a large part of the audience too, right?
Yeah, like
and you guys are reaction based,
Yeah, like
you want to get the full reaction, so that probably plays into that too.
Yeah, if we were targeting anybody, it would have been like homophobic jock frat dude kind of mentality.
Right. But it's interesting because I feel like there's almost like with hazing and things like that, they almost like explore that themselves in a way that like for them makes it okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, I just was curious because I saw that like the logo even at the beginning. I was like, and how much rainbows even play into like the intro or outro of the third movie or whatever. It's like obviously there's some clear.
I think that like there's something about an ability to not take oneself seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's really at the heart of Jackass, and I think that when guys are taking themselves super seriously, like that's there's a lot of overlap with kind of homophobia, I think.
Right. I was gonna say, is there any kind of ground rules that happen before the filming of a movie? Like, is there certain things where you're like, you can't do this, like, if you're like, before you go into production, or is it just like, the only rule is there's no rules, like Fight Club style?
I mean, it's like, there's a lot of sensitivity to just the spirit of what we're doing.
What do you mean by
the
that?
The rules. The number one rule is respect and like with regards to third party. Never put your hands on. Never like be mean spirited. Never like to ourselves and each other. Like, there's basically no rules. Like,
Was there physical altercations that ever arose from it?
There are a couple.
Is that you can't talk about that kind of stuff?
I'm happy to talk about
it.
Like,
what happened? Is there anything you can share just from like the reaction from something? Because I could only imagine that from the beginning of the movie to the end, the tensions are building. Certain people are getting back at each other.
The Pontius wrestled a number of people, like mostly Danger Aaron.
Didn't Danger and Bam almost get into it too?
I think Bam kind of maybe beat up Danger Aaron.
It seems like Aaron kind of gets the low end of the totem pole. Sometimes I feel for the guy.
Danger socked Dave England
on tour.
Yeah, on a tour, but there's never not like any.
You ever have any beef on filming?
No,
I saw in Wild Boys like you were punching Chris in the airplane or something, and then like he got so pissed because he's sleeping, and he got up. You were like he was in the first class or different like. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but that's
I seen him come like and just punch you.
The Black Mamba, I think.
Yeah, it's that sequence.
Yeah, that's punching Chris Pontius is a dangerous move. I can't remember a time when I was bold enough to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe you were coming off a bender.
Yeah.
Mid-flight on your way on to the next adventure.
There were definitely a lot of gnarly flights.
Did you guys ever have like safe words or certain things where like when the bit was done you needed to say? Because I remember there's one in sequence where like, and this is different because it's a dog, but like Johnny is getting his butt bitten by like a dog and he yells Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
I was just curious. That was for every skit or just for that?
That's the only safe word I'm aware of.
But you guys would use it if something was crossed the line? Was it
I said Oklahoma when they connected my balls to a rat zapper electrocution machine.
It was... I don't remember that. Is it used in... Did it get used?
I think it might have been in 3.5.
So how much stunts are actually filmed for the sequence and how much don't make it in either the .5s or like the credits?
Very little.
Very little doesn't get
exploited in some fashion.
Right. Because I was going to... That's a pretty cool way that you can make 2 movies out of it. How did the .5s do compared to the... Did they even get theatrical releases?
No, not theatrical.
Straight to DVD. It's like a bonus.
Straight to DVD, except for the 4.5 was Netflix exclusive.
Right.
Now I'm seeing people kind of crying out for physical copies of 4.5, which I don't believe exist. And they should, because there are a lot of people who collect physical media.
What's your favorite part of filming a Jackass movie? What's your least favorite part?
Just getting the shot is, of course, the favorite part.
When you get to be like, we're done?
Yeah, it's like there's...
For the day?
What Jackass is a battle of attention whores for screen time. Mm-hmm. You know, we're battling for screen time. And just when you get the shot and you got the screen time, like, that's just a battle won.
Did you guys ever lose footage? Like, is there any time with Wild Boys or Jackass or any scenes that like you wish would have made it or something that got erased? I'll refer to
the Tremaine episode again, but there was a photo that's known as the greatest photo ever taken. I think. Well, there's a couple of those. I was in a compromising situation with a prostitute in Indonesia, and there was like quite the perfect photo taken, like through the window, and there were like multiple people in the room that I wasn't even aware of.
Wow.
And so I was like mid-thrust, and it was like the peanut gallery in the room, and like this photo, and I destroyed the hotel room, made a super temper tantrum, and demanded that the photo be deleted. The photo was deleted.
Wow.
And that is the most sorely grieved loss of media.
For you or for the rest of the
not
crew?
Necessarily for me, but
you're happy. You got your wish.
I don't know that I'm happy. Like
I could have been your entry into the porn stars. One more career path that could have happened there.
I don't know how I feel about it because I don't even know that I ever saw the photo, but certainly, like, if you ask anybody in connection with Wild Boys, they would probably say that was the most grieved lost media.
Does Lance the filmer, who is always throwing up, does he get paid extra to be on camera?
I don't know about... Yeah, I think so. I think that he's got a talent deal. I think he's got a producer.
I feel like he's got to get something for that.
Was it like, if you talk, you get SAG, or is it like...
Something like that, yeah. I think that Lance has a producer deal and a talent deal and, like, you know, whatever is filming, you know, like... Yeah, I think he does pretty well.
I know you maybe have spoken of this already, but I can't remember. I remember there was something about it, but with movie payment, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. But is it like, was your deal structured flat fee or residuals for the movies?
There would be an upfront piece.
So you get an advance upfront?
Yeah, there's an upfront piece, and then there's a back-end consideration, profit participation, or points.
And was that always across the board, or after the first one or the second one, you set some precedent for that?
I remember the first movie, we got like the minimum scale, and then, and as I understand it, it was Knoxville. It was like, hey, we're making a movie, the guys are getting some back end.
After that, or during the movie, the show was just
before, like going into the first movie, which I thought was really cool. And then there's been back end since then. And
you were able to kind of fight for more of it as the movies progressed?
Yeah, fighting for more became a thing. Like, only for me did it become a thing on the fourth movie. But
yeah, like I remember hearing something about that. What was the?
I just always found out what I was gonna get, and I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. And then come the fourth movie, I was like, man, I should have maybe tried to like push back and fight for more. And so it was my first time ever trying to fight for more on the fourth movie.
Do you think that was because you had built your profile up beyond Jackass 2 and you recognized more of your worth?
I felt so. Yeah, I felt so. But in hindsight, I didn't do myself or anybody else any favors by approaching it the way that I did.
We went on into the media with it or something?
Yeah, I went into the media with it. It was just kind of a bad look. And I ended up making amends, or like acknowledging that I handled it all pretty poorly.
Real quick, our cameras are about to die, and you have a voodoo photo shoot.
Shit. Okay.
Soon. Do you want to ask whatever?
How many last ones did I get?
I still got. Sorry to interrupt.
Don't talk to me like that, Scott.
I'm gonna cut this one before.
Dude, I have 3 more pages.
That one's good.
Yeah, I think.
Should I go to the end?
Yeah, let's go to the end.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut this before it dies, so it doesn't corrupt any footage.
Sure.
Okay, we got that one and that one.
All right.
This one's at 6. You weren't kidding about 100 questions.
Yeah, that's why I came. I was gonna interview you. That was my main plan.
Oh, okay, I love it.
Okay, so.
This back one's not rolling.
Yeah.
All right.
This one?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, no,
I can keep going, or you need a second.
Can you cut this? That one?
Do you want me to cut it?
Yeah, cut that one. It's about to die. This one has a few left.
Okay. All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, Doug.
Okay.
I think we're setting a record for our longest ever podcast.
Definitely a record.
Well, I had at least another 2 hours of material.
We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes?
Yeah. Hear me out. This wasn't as much. I'm trying to make a proper documentation. It's not as much for me as it is for your fans.
We'll give you the Guinness World Book of Records for longest wild
I'll have to
podcast.
ask you these other questions at another point. Maybe I'll call you, and I'll spread it to your Reddit forums. Okay, so I'll get to the end here because I'm being pushed off the set, understandably. But I am gonna get some residuals from the shirts.
You should come over on Saturday.
I'd love to.
Yeah, dude.
Is that the big skate day?
Party, yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna RSVP for that bullshit. All right. If you could go back in time, is there anything you would change in your journey through life?
I'd be really protective of the space-time continuum. I learned that from Back to the Future.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I like where I'm at now, and I don't want to mess with it.
Do you believe the journey to becoming the legend they call Steve-O was your free will or your destiny?
Ooh, I believe that free will is an immutable, unbreakable law of the universe. So predestination, I don't think really is in the cards. But then again, you got like I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that
it's a tough one.
It is.
It's a tough one. I think that you can't. There's no way around free will to just give somebody a predetermined outcome. Mm-hmm. I think that I came into this life with, just a persistence. Not even necessarily a good persistence. Like I'm just like the most annoyingly persistent bastard. Mm-hmm. So, I think that my free will coupled with my persistence was a recipe for what happened.
But I always think, why are we persistent? Why are we passionate? And it's like, is that free will at that point too?
I think that as on a soul level, I do believe that we choose our parents, that we, outline a blueprint for what we're supposed to do in life, and we go into it. So, I think that ahead of time, before my life began, on a soul level, I equipped myself with certain characteristics, which by definition were predetermined. Mm-hmm. But then once you pop out of that womb, then
yeah. All right, I'm getting close here. I know you guys are ready to get out. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you think you'll still be shooting yourself into the sky in porta potties covered in shit?
10 years is pretty far out. I think that the world as we know it, society as we know it, I picture it being dramatically different in 10 years.
Right.
I think that, like, I would even say, like, on the level of, like, the fall of the Roman Empire type different.
Wow.
You know, like, maybe not. Maybe I'm talking 20 years. But I think that the society as we know it has a very limited amount of time.
Wow. So you think it's all coming to an end?
Not necessarily
Doomsday.
coming to an end. I think that
Shift.
the gravy train is coming to an end. And I think that I would imagine that the Great Depression of 1929
Right.
is effectively chicken shit compared to where we're headed.
Crazy. So you're a doomsday prepper.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. And,
2029.
Is that the year?
No, I don't know.
I mean, who knows, you know? But with that said, I definitely have a limited amount of time left to really beat myself up.
Yeah. Will you retire, you think?
I think I retire piecemeal from certain things.
Right.
Like, I've already thrown in the towel on standing backflips.
That's good.
And nut
Don't do
kicking.
Nut kicking.
Nut kicking. Like, there's certain things, but, you know, who knows? I'm going to evolve. I'm going to, like, I'll probably always be an attention whore, but I'm working to set up, like, a property with the animals and the animal sanctuary deal. Like,
I love that. Last question. When you die, what do you want people to remember Steve-O as? What do you want them to remember about you?
my ego really wants people to remember me fondly, having entertained them, you know, like, I want them to remember me as somebody who's loved. But that's just ego talking. I think if I have a legacy, then I'd like it to be like with these animals in our sanctuary.
I wish you luck on that journey.
Thanks, dog. Fuck yeah, dude.
Thanks for making time.
It's creative stuff.
Yeah, dude, you're an impressive cat, brother.
After all that, do you really have 3 testicles?
That we'll never know. No, yeah, I do. I was born with a condition.
Yeah, and they used to make fun of you calling you Oliver 3.
They did. They used to call me Oliver 3. It was kind of a... I don't like to talk about it. I think I'm going to head out.
Thank you. Yeah, dude, thank you. Well, how about that? We shattered the record for the longest episode of the Wild Ride podcast ever. What was it before? Like, hovering around an hour and a half.
Yeah, Kevin Smith probably was the longest before that.
Yeah, and this one was 2.5 hours. Unbelievable. It's like an hour longer than our longest. And it didn't feel like 2.5 hours. This dude is bonkers, man. He's like my new favorite guy. I'm dying to see his show, his live show. I don't doubt that he puts every little bit into it that he says he does. Man, I feel like we got to know the real guy, and I really like the real guy. And I really like you, because you stuck around for the longest fucking pod. We got to do something special here. If you're still listening or watching this deep into the very end of the longest podcast we ever did, then I need you to post something, like, do the street team thing, but put hashtag street team bonkers, because I'm gonna be looking for that, man. That retention, dude. I was like nervous. I was like, fuck, we're going so long. Like, man, if retention falls off, like, ugh. Because that's me, dude. I'm a psycho. All right, guys. I love you. Thank you for sticking around. Hashtag street team bonkers.